Hey everyone, welcome to the NintendoFuse Podcast. This is episode 207, entitled Super Mario 3D All-Stars and more. Forgot the title, but that's okay, because as Barry's already said, I've had issues tonight. So if you're missing out in the live chat, I did have issues. I had some tech issues, but I've had other issues as well. Can't even remember the title of our podcast, but that's okay. That's why we're joined by other people, because I can't do this alone. I need Barry. Hey Barry, how's it going?
Hey Steve, always a pleasure to back you up when you're just having those off days, or
sure.
maybe saying words multiple times.
Hey, I actually was eventually. Like
we're all getting old, right?
Apparently, my microphone is also getting old. Hey, Greg, how's it going? Thanks for joining us as well. Thanks for being there to bail me out.
No problem. Always glad to be here to help out. And just as we all get older, so does NintendoFuse. So
yeah,
that's true. Speaking of NintendoFuse getting older, we've got the original creator of the NintendoFuse podcast back with us again. Hassan, thanks for joining us, man.
Yeah, absolutely. I thought you were like, speaking of getting old. Yeah, that's true. Yes.
No, speaking of the podcast getting old.
No, I've been through 11 years of various tech issues and other issues, so I know how it goes.
For sure. So yeah, we are celebrating 11 years of the NintendoFuse podcast today, right? Hassan, it's the exact day of the 11th anniversary.
Today is the day.
Wow. So if you guys have missed out on our 10th year anniversary episode last year, or maybe you missed out on the episode 200. We've got a lot of stories of, the podcast of yesteryear and, how we all started and our favorite memories and everything like that. So there's a ton that we have to talk about tonight. So we're not going to necessarily, overwhelm you with revisiting those stories again, but we'd love for you guys to go back and check out our 10th anniversary episode. Check out episode 200 as well. A lot of stories, lots of really cool appearances from some co-hosts that we've had over the years that was on that 10th anniversary episode last year too. And again, Hassan, it's all to you for starting this and everything. But it's been really cool to have so many different people kind of step in for periods of time over those years. And some of them have started to come back around again. Actually, I think us reaching out to Nick about being on the podcast last year. He's actually popped back in our Discord, and we're chatting with him on Twitter again and everything. So it's kind of cool to see some of those old faces and voices come back around and again. So so happy 11 years, NintendoFuse Podcast. It's pretty cool. Do you guys have anything to say about that?
Not anything specifically. I think, as you said, we've kind of talked about it a lot as we've hit all these different milestones. The one thing I will say is I kind of shared with everyone today is, for whatever reason, the first 74, 75 episodes of the podcast, you can't go back and listen to anymore. It's just not available online. So I was digging through some old hard drives today, and I found the files to all of the first 75 episodes. So I think Steve said we'll figure out a way to try and get that out there. But if you've been wanting to go back and see our original interview with Tommy Tallarico in episode 4 or 5, I think, there's a bunch of good stuff in those early episodes that'll be fun to go back and listen to.
Absolutely. Yeah, I was so excited when Hassan said it. He found them all. I'm like, this is so great, because I think we lost them in the transfer from. I think it was actually on TalkShoe. They had some sort of crash or whatever, and a lot of podcasts lost some of their early episodes, and so those weren't brought over to Anchor when we made that switch, and so it'd be cool to go back to. Hopefully we can get those up somewhere somehow.
Yeah.
It'd be cool to get them on our stream, of the actual feed, but somewhere we'll put them somewhere.
The funny thing too is I was looking at the episode files that I had, and I think you can listen with episode 75 onwards, and I think I only had files up through episode 76.
Wow.
So literally right at that cutoff point. And it's all from downloading through iTunes. It's not the files that I saved that I had to upload. It's just from being subscribed on iTunes and the files downloading onto locally onto a folder. I just happen to have the first 76 episodes or something just sitting there.
Nice. That's so awesome. So awesome. Greg, Barry, you have anything to say about our 11th anniversary?
Let's
Go
to
for it.
the next 11.
The next 11. Wow.
I mean, it's crazy to think, so many companies even, don't survive 11 years. TV shows don't survive 11 years. So it's great. It's great just to hit yet another milestone, and like Greg said, here's to another 11 plus more.
Absolutely. And thank all you guys. Thanks for the years of support and listening, and now for the last 107 episodes watching. It's been really cool to just have that support. I know some of you guys have been there from the very beginning, which is just crazy that you still listen to us 11 years later. In fact, if you've been listening, let us know in the comments. If you're watching on YouTube, let us know in the chat or the comments later. Let us know when you started listening or watching NintendoFuse Podcast. That'd be great. Or at least shoot us a message on Discord or social media or something like that. Let us know when you started. It'd be really cool to find out when that all started for you guys. Chase said Greg needs to hold up a wine glass when he says that. Nice. I will hold up a glass. Oh, what is that? Is that a NintendoFuse mug? Oh, I think it is. Ooh. Oh, and also sporting the new hoodie that's available. And it's not as cool, but some people think these are cool. Look at this. We also have die-cast stickers that you cannot see because my light is way too bright. But it does say NintendoFuse on this. But a whole bunch of stuff. We've added to our t-shirt lineup, so if you want to buy a lot of merch with NintendoFuse stuff on it, head over to NintendoFuse.com, and you just hit that link that says merch or buy t-shirt or whatever, and we're going to add some stuff too. You said you got a water bottle? Barry?
No, I mean, I have a water
Oh, you just have a water bottle? Okay. I was like, I didn't think I made a water bottle, but okay, cool.
I'm not gonna lie, Steve. When you were holding up that sticker, it really did look like a pregnancy test.
Really? That's so weird. It's just it's a flat sticker, but okay.
Well, no.
Really weird.
when you put it up front without
there we go.
there we can see it. There we go.
There you go. I just had to get it closer, so yeah, it's kind of cool. But yeah, all that stuff's there.
Put it on a water bottle, Steve.
I could put it on a water
bottle.
bottle.
Stick it to the water bottle. This is a NintendoFuse water bottle.
There it is. Yeah, I thought about just getting a plain mug and sticking it on there too, but I don't think it would work as well, and probably wouldn't go through the dishwasher as well either. But yeah, if you guys want to buy some merch, celebrate 11 years with us and buy some merch, that'd be really awesome. And yeah, that'd be cool. Again, if you have not joined us in our Discord or social media, if you haven't subscribed to us, if you haven't shared it with other people, please do that. That'd be great. Looks like Jakester saying in the chat that he started watching NintendoFuse around Mario Kart 8 release on the Wii U. Oh, I remember that episode. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry, Jakester. That's when I was trying to show off Mario Kart 8. And it just was awful because I didn't have a streaming setup or something like that at the time. I remember that episode. Oh, I'm glad you're still here. But yeah, 6 years, man. Thanks so much, Jakester, for to being here for those 6 years. Those 6 years have flown by. I didn't realize we've actually been chatting with you live for 6 years. That's so cool. Yeah. It's so cool to always interact with you guys in the chat room, back when we did live calls and all that stuff. And speaking of which, you can still send in a message. You can do that. Just send us a voice message, send us a link to a video, anything like that, to podcast@nintendofuse.com. And we'd love to feature you in a future episode. But all that out of the way, let's move on to the content of this podcast because we have a ton of stuff to talk about tonight. A ton of stuff, and our 11th year anniversary is just the tip of the iceberg tonight. But before we dive into any of the news, any of that stuff, let's talk about what we have been playing. And actually, we're going to go to Hassan first. I'm going to throw you for a loop here, Hassan, because I know you're ready first. But Yeah, what have you been playing? And I hear you have an update on your Lego Mario stuff.
That's right. So as far as what I've been playing, I know we're going to talk about Mario 3D All Stars, Super Mario 3D All Stars. So I played that for a bit. I did play a little bit more of Power Rangers Battle for the Grid. They released the next DLC character, the Samurai Red Ranger Lauren, who's pretty interesting. And then honestly, again, mostly just Fortnite, and as well as some Rocket League this past weekend because they had a special crossover event between the two. So that was kind of cool to get Fortnite themed items in Rocket League, and then you would complete those challenges to unlock Rocket League themed items in Fortnite. I hadn't played Rocket League in a long time, and gosh, I had so much fun. It made me want to really get back into it again. But I'm like, great, I have Fortnite, I have that. There's just too many games that just keep getting me sucked in like that. But yeah, really, really cool crossover collaboration, and it was a lot of fun for sure.
Nice. And yeah, do you get an update on your Lego adventures, building adventures over there?
I do indeed. So as I said 2 episodes ago, I think I was challenged in trying to build all of the Lego Mario sets for the anniversary episode, and I succeeded. So let me show you the finished product on my shelf here. So for those watching the video, you'll get to actually see it, but otherwise I will describe it. So there's multiple sets, and I've kind of combined them a little bit to create my own full thing, but I have the set that came with Yoshi, with Mario's house. I have the Boomer Bill set, as they call it, in the back. There's Toad's houses, some other themed ones, the Piranha Plant slide set right here. You got the full set with the Koopa, Bob-omb, and Piranha Plant right there. I added Bowser Jr. as kind of a mini boss in the middle. And then going over to the next shelf where you get Boo and the sort of haunted set right here as well. This dude, which I always get it mixed up. Is it a Thwomp or a Womp?
Womp.
Womp, that's right. Thwomp is the other one, the big brick thing. And then of course leading all up to the big Bowser's Castle, which just looks epic, really, really cool. And then leading into the flagpole at the end. I have not built or opened up the power-up packs or the blind bags. I have 20 of the blind bags, so we'll see if I get all of them or not. But as far as all the actual sets, I have completed building all of those.
Nice.
That's awesome.
It is. It's good you have enough space there for it, but it's surprising how much it does sprawl out when you spread it out a little bit there. And I'm sure it seems like you've got some stacked where if you were actually playing with it, you'd probably spread them out even more, and that would take up a lot of space.
Yeah, I've tried to, for the most part. Every set is connected in some way, except for obviously where I split shelves, and then I put the little flagpole at the end so that you'll go in a cloud to fly over here to the end, to kind of do that, which actually was one of the more difficult things to do. There's not a lot of connector pieces in these sets, so I kind of had to readjust some things. Now, obviously, it's standard Legos, so if you have other Legos, you can do that easy. I just don't have many other ones to add to this. So if you really want to connect them all physically, it's actually quite difficult. So I don't think you necessarily have to do that as long as they're kind of next to each other. But what I will say is I tried to build one mega course and tried to use my Mario to run through it. Mm-hmm. And I only got up to here, and I was already out of time before I could even finish even halfway. Because every little set, there's so many different things to interact with and stuff. And you only have 60 seconds to complete a level, I guess, so to speak. There's 2 sets. This one comes with a extra time. I think 15 seconds extra you get if you land on that block. And then Bowser's Castle has another one of those too, but that's at the very end. So you really, it's really, if you want to truly play through a level, you don't necessarily need to buy every set to do that, because that actually makes it more difficult. I think I definitely recommend picking and choosing just a couple sets that you really enjoy, and then just kind of building a course from that.
Nice.
No, obviously what you need to do now, Hassan, is you need to buy multiple of those 2 sets just for those extra time pieces and put them around.
I know. They need to do blind bags of, instead of the actual villain, just have those blocks in there, just random blocks or something,
I was just gonna say
Definitely.
you need a P-wing, but
Yeah.
I guess that
you can
defeats the whole
easily do a
purpose.
P-wing.
I guess I can just do, like, once I open up the propeller set, just, like, fly over half the course and just kind of, because
Right.
there's the propeller, the builder, Fire Mario, and Cat Mario. So I guess there's, some things I can mess around with that.
Yeah.
You just need to move the cloud to the beginning, and it'll be over real quick.
Yeah, I guess it kind of defeats the purpose of if you just jump over everything.
I do like, so when you do it and
That's
you
the dev
connect it with
exit.
the app, you can actually see in the app like what villains you jumped on or what parts of the course you did and how many coins you got for each. So you can and then you can take a picture and share that via the app as well. So if you want to kind of build your own course and show, your level, you can do that, which is kind of neat.
Cool, that's awesome. Well, thanks, Husson, for getting all that and putting it together and letting us live vicariously through you, because none of us ended up getting it. So.
No problem.
Go in the chat real quick. Dave's in there. Dave's been still just doing an awesome job of writing regular articles on NintendoFuse.com. So if you haven't checked out our website lately, make sure you check that out. The majority of the articles are by Dave. Thanks so much, Dave, and thanks for joining us in the chat tonight. Also, Julio is back tonight. It's been a while since he's been able to join us live, so thanks so much for being with us tonight as we celebrate 11 years of the podcast. Barry, let's go to you next. What have you been up to?
Yeah. So no Lego sets here, so I can't talk about that. On the Switch, honestly, not as much. I did some Animal Crossing, and I'm prepared for October, getting my 2 sea creatures, and the update that we'll talk about in a little bit. And the other thing was Mario 3 All-Stars, which again we were going to talk about in a little bit. But I did finish last podcast. I just finished my Uncharted marathon. And I was like, all right, next marathon time. Like, I'm trying to go marathon to marathon this year. So I did earlier this year. I did Detroit Become Human, and I really like visual novel style games and interactive movie style games. I did Life is Strange earlier as well. So I was like, all right, let's finish that marathon. And even though Detroit is a standalone game, the studio Quantic Dream did put out 2 other games that are all the same style. So I decided I was going to go do that. So I did Heavy Rain, and then I did Beyond Two Souls. Not terribly long games. I did them in like 3 days or so. They're maybe 8 hours or so. Nothing huge, but very well done. Like I was impressed. I had a lot of fun doing it. Of course, like Heavy Rain, going back now, it's a little more janky because it was their first real experiment with this. So a lot of the voices, or not the voices, but like the mouths are like kind of like over exaggerated, and you can see it kind of get better over time. But I do recommend if you like story-based games, interactive movies, and Beyond does the same thing Detroit does, where it actually gives you at the end of a chapter what like the percentage of people that chose the same choice you did as you go through, which I think is really nice to see, like if you were in the majority or the minority on the decisions you make. It's a lot of it's superfluous, but there are things that do carry over. And I thought that was nice. And then I finished that, and I was going to jump into Star Ocean 5 because I never got a chance to do it. But another game came out that I've been hearing really good things about by Vanillaware, and I do really enjoy Vanillaware's games, called 13 Sentinels Aegis Rim. So I started that, and for those that don't know, it's 2 games in one. It's really weird. It's like a story-based adventure with the typical Vanillaware beautiful art with flowcharts where like you have to get keywords and going one path and then you go back, like oh, you have to meet, you're looking for a student because you're set in a high school, and you go, let's go to the cafeteria, oh, they're not there. But then in another path you might overhear a conversation where like girls are like, oh yeah, we saw him over by the vending machines. So you can go back in time then and replay it, and this time you go, oh no, we don't have to go to the cafeteria, we go to the vending machine, and it opens up a whole new path. I like those kind of games because it lets you replay and learn about things. But then the other half is a turn-based strategy, or not even really a turn-based strategy. It's a strategy game, but it's not really turn-based because the enemies are moving while you're moving, and you're in mechs. It's mechs versus kaiju. It's Pacific Rim, the game, except the graphics for that part are terrible. I don't know why. The mechs are just little blue dots with like your character images over it, and the kaiju are like cubes that take kind of the shape of whatever monster it's supposed to be. It's clear that they did this almost like a half-ass. It's fun, but it like graphically it's very weak, especially compared to the beautiful. Like if you look at the adventure artwork, it's gorgeous. Vanillaware is known for doing fantastic artwork. They did Demon's Crown, they did Muramasa, which was on the Wii, Odin's Sphere. So I'm having fun with it. It's confusing. The story is confusing. I've heard it's one of those that unravels, and as it unravels, it gets better. So I didn't spoil anything. And it took me a little bit to get through the tutorial, but once I did, forget about it. I'm really enjoying it now, especially because the tutorial, it's like adventure, battle, adventure, battle. I'm like, I don't want to do battle. I want to do the adventures. But now, when you finish the tutorial, you actually just focus on the adventures until you have to do battles to advance the story. So it doesn't actually let you like get too far into it. You have to kind of keep things balanced, but it's a lot of fun. On PC, I'm still playing 14. I'll always be playing Final Fantasy 14. And on mobile, I'm still doing Mario Kart Tour. I know a lot of people are like, I dropped off, whatever, but I still play it. And the big one is Dragalia Lost because they just celebrated their 2-year anniversary. They had a big direct, 30-minute direct. They revamped the entire game. They literally rebooted the game. They rebooted the art style. It's all Wind Waker cel-shaded now. It looks gorgeous. They changed the whole system fundamentally from the ground up to make it easier and more accessible for newer players. They compensated every player for whatever they took away. On every single item that they removed or cut down, every player got compensated, which was insanely nice. They didn't have to do that. And then they started doing a bunch of giveaways, including for the next 30 days. But they started it 2 days ago. 33 days straight of full 10-fold summons for free. 330 summons just like that. Mario Kart Tour, on the other hand, is like, oh, we know people are going to play this for the pin set. Let's give nothing for free. Nothing at all. No incentive for people to keep playing. I don't know who runs that, but that's stupid. There's a huge incentive right now to jump into Dragalia. And the game is better now than it was even before. And 2 years, and it's Nintendo's only brand new IP on the mobile platform. And I really hope they continue doing stuff with it and bring it in other media because it's a great IP. And just booting up the game and looking at the graphics now, it's so beautiful. And I'm really happy with it.
Wow. That's kind of crazy and good to hear that, with the update that you actually enjoy it. Because so many times games like that get rebooted and people are just up in arms about it and just hating it. I think of even like Clash Royale, I still play a little bit here and there, and they redid the like the war system thing, and it's like nobody likes it. But it's interesting to hear Dragalia is better now.
Well, what they did is they kind of messed it up in a sense that like all my teams, because you have teams set up, are now kind of broken because they took away all the equipment. But the way it was before is you have the equipment was called worm prints, and you had up to 2 equipable. Each worm print had 2 stats. Now each worm print only has 1 stat, but you can equip up to 5 of them, and they equip to your weapon. So they unequipped everything, but they changed all the worm prints, and now they all do different things. So now it's like, oh, I got to relearn, and you don't need like a bunch of them because 1 copy can be multiplied up to 4 if you unlock it. And one of the interesting things is they had a system where you had storage. So in order to have more equipment, you needed to purchase more storage, meaning you use the in-game currency or the purchasable currency. Well, because of this new system, they got rid of the storage. There's no need for it. You could have 1 of every worm print and it takes up no inventory. You could have 4 of every one, it doesn't take up any inventory. So not only did they do that, they got rid of the ability to purchase more storage, but they also compensated you for any storage you purchased. So if you paid money, real money to update your storage, they compensated you all of that back. Every dime you put into it, which is awesome. Like they could have easily said, thanks for your money, bye. Like it's still gift cards in a sense, but still they didn't have to do it. Wow. They did the same thing with weapons. Weapons were like too crazy and people were like, I don't know what to do. So they cut down all the weapons. They made it all, very streamlined, and they got rid of weapon storage as well and said, no, here you go. You can have 1 of every weapon now or 4 of every weapon and no big deal. And we're going to compensate you. I like that. I like that they're doing that and they're listening to people and they're listening to their gamers. They even added like stuff to the summoning where it's like if you summon enough, you can get a free adventure of whatever you want. Again, these are the things I like to see in any developer listening to their player base. You know, I know Rocket League and Fortnite are constantly doing it, and that's why they're successful. Minecraft the same. But so many mobile games are just like, whatever, you know, we're just gonna nickel and dime you, and we don't care. I'm sure if Cygames was doing this solo, they might be doing that. But with Nintendo's influence, I'm sure they're like, no, don't do that. Our name's attached. You better be good.
Nice. Greg, what have you been up to over the last couple weeks?
Well, I've been quite high on the retro kick. So, first on Switch is just a nice laundry list of games. Still playing Animal Crossing. Did like the bug off, and that was fun there. And another fishing tournament coming up that we're excited for, along with the Halloween event that I'm sure we'll be talking about. 3D All Stars. We'll be talking about that soon too as well. I did jump back more into Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. My daughter is completely fascinated in the Mario Kart world now, so we've been playing a lot of Mario Kart 8 Deluxe there. Did do like another world or so on Adventures of Pip. That's still a great game, and hoping to actually finish it this time on Switch. A big surprise return title here is the Untitled Goose game. I had no idea that the update actually came out, but we were pleasantly surprised when we went to try to load it up, and I was like, oh, the update. And I'm like, oh yeah, that's right, they added the co-ops. Then we had a lot of fun having two geese on the screen at the same time. That's actually really cool the way they did that. Is like you can do the missions, and you have like one distracting the character, and the other one could be doing the objective, and it's pretty cool how that's all works together. And like instead of like it having like a normal orange color, they made it like a red color, so it's looks kind of off in a way, but it's still easily distinguished between the two geese characters. So that's really fun there. Moving on to the next console, still playing Binding Blade on Game Boy Advance. I did order a new battery because like the one that I'd gotten was completely going kaput, caused me to have to restart a mission on Binding Blade. So I was like, okay, no more of this restarting just because the battery is just gonna be bad. So that was replaced. Still going over to the third one, Fire Emblem Heroes on mobile still. I wish they would listen more to their player base more, because there's certainly a lot they could learn there, especially on the summoning side. And then finally, since my camera zoomed in, you can't really see it, I hooked up the Wii, because my daughter's been completely fascinated still with Mario Kart, so we decided to fire up this guy. This is Double Dash.
Nice.
And then she was watching videos of tennis, so we were also playing Mario Kart Power Tennis. Or not Mario Kart, Mario Power Tennis.
Nice.
So,
And now I want to see Mario Kart Power Tennis, where you're actually in the cart driving back and forth trying to hit the ball.
Yes.
oh, that'd be fun.
They can
And
bring that
again, I
into
hope to-
Mario Kart Live.
The game I'm hoping to finally play for the first time is this one that I've had forever. So
Oh, great game.
never played it. It's just been in my collection forever, and since it brought up all the GameCube stuff, it's sitting over here ready to be played.
Nice.
So
That's awesome.
as I said, quite a retro feel with a lot of GameCube, still Game Boy Advance, Mario 3D All Stars. It's like all retro.
Cool. Let's go to the chat real quick before I share what I've been playing. Looks like True Mobius has joined us. That was cool. He just kind of stopped by to say hi, apparently. And then Jakester has been playing Heavy Rain, I think, or he was just commenting that Heavy Rain was great. Dave said he's been playing 3D All Stars and a little bit of Rocket League since it went free, which is awesome. Let's see. Dave also said that he heard 13 Sentinels was in development for a while, but forgot about it. I guess didn't hear about it until it released.
A lot of people forgot about it, and it just
Yeah.
kind of came out of nowhere, and it's getting like 9s across the board.
Let's see. Julio said, yep.
Jakester said what he was playing above Dave.
Did he?
Yeah. He said he was playing FGO, Breath of the Wild, and started Genshin Impact today.
For some reason that's not popping up. That's weird. But that's okay. But anyway, cool. So yeah, be sure to let us know again in the chat or the comments down below after the fact what you've been playing. I have been playing Animal Crossing, of course. Just kind of doing the daily check-ins and getting some things done. Not really going after a whole lot. I'm just kind of banking all my bells and just kind of doing a little bit here and there. Basically, digging up all the fossils and hitting the rocks and cashing it in and moving on. Occasionally getting a new album or something like that, or a new reaction. Kind of slowly getting things filled up, but not really really going after them hardcore. But then also played a little bit of Fortnite as well, as Hudson alluded to. They had that crossover event with Rocket League, so that was cool. And it did they had a concert to celebrate, I think, was it three years of Fortnite? Yeah. So I attended the concert online, and then went over to Rocket League and started on the Llama Rama event over there, and was able to get all the stuff for my you have to unlock the flag and the topper and the decal and all that stuff. It's like you can have a fully Rama'd out Octane in the game, and so I did that, and then I quickly switched over to my normal Octane again. But I did the battle bus is actually kind of fun to play with, and the cool thing is that it's an Octane hitbox on the battle bus, so it feels very similar to the Octane, which I normally play as, but it's also it feels, I don't know if it actually does, but I feel like it's got more power, and I feel like I like can really hit the ball harder sometimes, or even blow up other players better. I don't know, but maybe it's just in my head. But that was fun to play. I did actually play Mario Kart Tour, mostly for the pin set. It's still horrible. And then I played some Super Mario 3D All Stars, which we're going to talk about before we get into the news, because I feel like we probably all got a chance, I think, to play around with it some, maybe some more than others. Myself, I only played Super Mario Sunshine so far. I have not went over to play 64 or Galaxy, mostly because I wanted to focus on Sunshine, because it's the one I played the least of all the games there. And just before we get your opinions, I'll just throw out, I don't remember Sunshine being so sloppy on the GameCube. The controls are so sloppy is the best word I can come up with. It's so loose, his controls. I feel like I'm bouncing everywhere. His jumps are, Mario can jump higher than he has ever jumped before in Sunshine, I feel like. And sometimes you don't have to jump that high, Mario. I feel like it's just like every little small movement, he's like off and running, and I feel like it's just weird. The controls make that game difficult. It's not that difficult of a game, but I think the controls make it more difficult. And I do wish they would have done something with figuring out a way to get the analog controls for Flood again. Like, I miss it. I miss being able to actually aim. I would have loved to even have motion controls actually for Flood. That would have been cool. And actually, I found myself wanting to use motion controls because I was so used to using them in Splatoon. I would just hit the button and want to move where I was spraying just by instinct of playing Splatoon. And nope, that's not the case. So it's fun. It's cool. I know a lot of people have called it a cash grab, and it basically is. It's a cool compilation of the games and everything. But yeah, I was kind of disappointed in Super Mario Sunshine. But yeah, what do you guys think of the compilation and what you played so far? Let's go to you first, Barry.
So I started with Sunshine, and I echo a lot of your same sentiments. My biggest thing was also the inversion. You couldn't invert. So when I was stopped and I was trying to aim Flood, it got frustrating because I was mixing it up, and it was just oh my god. And I noticed some weird little problems, we had to wake up PD Piranha by firing the little pig balloon. I couldn't hit him. It took me 50 missiles before it finally hit. I'm why? I had to look it up. I'm am I doing this wrong? No, I'm aiming right where I'm supposed to be, and it's just going up. I'm no. I don't know what was going on. So it was weird little janks. I did break the game at one point where I fell through a platform that I shouldn't have fallen through, and that caused the game to still count me in that location. but I had to go around to get back there. So because of that, it didn't load, like the triggers load the rest of the level. So I posted a video on Twitter. It was in the docks, the second level. I had to like use flood to hit the propeller to raise the submarine to get back, and it wouldn't work. Like the propeller was loaded, but the action of spinning wouldn't work. So I'm like spraying and spraying. I'm like, all right, none of these assets are fully loaded. Great game. I did clip on other cases too, including the final boss. I actually like fell, like I stomped on one of the 5 things you have to stomp on, and I'm running back to the center, and I like fall through, and I'm just like, no, like that was cheap. I did beat it. I'm not getting 120. I don't know how I did it as a kid, but the roller coaster in the park, I nearly threw up. Because it was triggering my vertigo, doing that. It was kind of almost like a first-person type thing and going loop-the-loops. I'm like, oh my god, no. You know, like I'm just not getting this. Whatever, this last shine can go to hell, because I'm not getting it. So then I moved to 64, and I realized 64 actually controls worse than Sunshine to me. Like the backflip was 100% like non-responsive, like the somersault backflip. In Sunshine, I was pulling it off like crazy. Like I did all the floodless levels. Fun fact about those is I got a Fitbit that I'm now wearing, and it was fun doing the floodless levels and watching my heart rate actually go up in real time because I'm getting like hot and sweaty, and I'm like, you know, frustrated. I'm like, oh, I missed that jump, no, you know, and I'm like, oh yeah, this is not good. Yeah. But that was an interesting experiment. But 64, I didn't get all the stars. I got like 98, and I beat the game. It was a faster playthrough because I knew a lot of it, but the camera is terrible. The camera is terrible in both Sunshine and 64, and I wish they updated the camera. But I had fun. Regardless, I still had fun. And then I went to Sunshine, and I played. I went to a Galaxy, and I played that a little bit. And the first time I played was with the Pro Controller because I wanted to see how it would play using the sensor for the infrared for whatever, the gyro for the pointer. It worked decently. It was kind of weird though, like playing and also like trying to point while playing. So then I played it again using the Joy-Cons and mimicking, and I did 3 stars and I had to put it down. My hands were cramped from the Joy-Cons because they're so small, and I'm like, oh, and I constantly resetting. I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna play this with the Pro Controller and deal with it. At least my hands will be more comfortable. But otherwise, it looks beautiful. It plays well, and it's awesome still.
Nice. It's funny you mentioned, the vertigo thing. I noticed myself getting a little bit kind of woozy, sometimes in, again, struggling with words, in Sunshine as well. And I think it was partially because of the camera. It's just, it's kind of janky, and it's weird that they haven't updated it. Jakester saying, and all you say that Sunshine is the greatest game ever. We've never said that. NintendoFuse has never gone on record to say that Sunshine is the greatest game ever. A lot of people have, but I'm pretty sure we've never said that before.
Dave wants to know the Chuckster level. So the Chuckster level, which is the one of the floodless levels in the final world before Corona Mountain, and the object, for those that never played it, or you're on these platforms and there's Chucksters, and the Chucksters will throw you to other platforms. But the problem is it starts off easy, and then you have to like find exactly, they're moving, and you have to find exactly where to stand, and they throw you over. The good news is they put you a 1-up right at the start, which is infuriating to get because you need a Chuckster to throw you into it. But they at least put that there. It took me probably about 25 minutes. And then once I got past the part I was stuck on, I went right away. Like at the end, it's like, do you want to go to the left and exit or go to the right and get a 1-up? I'm like, I'm exiting this bad boy. And he almost missed the jump, but he luckily landed on the final platform. I'm like carefully jumping up. I'm like, I'm getting out of here. So yeah, that answers your question, Dave.
Nice. I haven't gotten to the end yet, but I'm not looking forward to that.
Hudson,
I'm sure I will definitely know. I know the level. I just haven't played it. Yeah.
Honestly, that part was 100 times easier than the damn Corona Mountain boat where you have to use the spray and get across the lava. That infuriated me. My boat was spinning left and right. Nothing worked properly, and oh man.
Nice.
Don't recommend.
Hudson, what's your experience with 3D All Stars been like?
I have not gotten to play very much at all so far, but I've enjoyed what I did. Like I played Mario 64 when I first got the game, and only got like 1 or 2 stars initially, but just wanted to just jump back in and just kind of just the excitement of having Mario 64 on the Switch was really cool. And then I wanted to jump into Galaxy and play some of that. So I played that for a little bit. I don't think I even really tried it handheld because I just immediately already thought that it would be a little odd just because I'm so used to, the Wii Remote nunchuck style. So I played with that, and it's worked really well, and I've really been enjoying it. And I think that's honestly the factor that's limiting me from playing it more. Like I'll be like lying in bed and like pick up the Switch and be like, should I jump into Fortnite, or maybe I'll play some Mario Galaxy, but like I want to like set up the Joy-Cons and kind of play with that, and I'm just in bed right now. Like I just don't have a place to sit down the Switch. So like I just need to like get to the TV and just kind of dock it and play like with the Wii. But it looks great, and I mean Mario Galaxy is my favorite Mario game ever. So loving the fact that I can play it on Switch. I have never played Sunshine, and I was always waiting for them to do some type of a re-release because they've re-released a bunch of other games. Like Wind Waker HD and all that, like on Wii U and all that. I was like, at some point, Sunshine's got to come back, or they'll release it on a virtual console thing or something or whatever. And I just kept waiting, and finally we have it. So I'm definitely looking forward to jumping into Sunshine soon. I just haven't gotten a chance to yet.
Nice. Greg, how about you?
All right, so I decided to go with my favorite of the bunch, and that was Mario 64. So I did the full 120 star completion that I wrapped up last night, and then I did jump into Sunshine. But regarding 64, it felt pretty fine for the most part. There was a few parts it seemed like it was kind of harder, and it's still the jankiness of the camera, but then some parts did feel like he was slipperier than I remember, but that could just be my brain. I have no idea, but it did feel pretty good for the most part. It was pretty much just that stinking clock level that was just causing me to want to swear up a storm just playing it.
That's where I threw in the towel and said, "Screw it, I'm beating the game." That last star.
It was like I wanted to get I was usually getting like the 100 coin star on my first attempt on just about all the levels. So like trying to get you'd be like right around like 70 coins, and then like some sort of jank happens, and then you just fall off the middle of the clock, and then you can't land below, and then it's like, and now I gotta do all that over again. So having to hit that roadblock a number of times was definitely very frustrating. But I mean, I didn't get any game overs and everything like that. It would be nice if the lives kind of saved over, but it didn't do that on the regular system too. So no harm, no foul there. Sunshine usually was my least favorite of the 3D games, so was not expecting it to be like a knock out of the park, but definitely agree with what you guys were saying with like the aiming. Like I was just trying to like hit things with like the water pistol thing, and it was just felt so darn difficult with using the Pro controller. So I don't know if that's just weird because they use like L and or no, it's R and ZR. It just felt kind of weird, goofy the way they have that set up for the water triggers.
Yeah,
that's
like
L controller. It's not just the Pro controller.
Yeah. Oh, I think
I don't know if it was better using GameCube, but I don't know. I don't have it on GameCube anymore.
Even if you put in the GameCube controller, it's still R and Z.
Yeah.
Like you still can't do the same thing.
Yeah.
It just shows that I haven't played it in whatever 18 years, so I don't remember.
Yeah. Can you because you can remap controllers, can you remap them, the buttons? Has anybody tried that to get, but I guess you still wouldn't have the right the trigger that you'd want. It'd just still be, kind of a digital.
The game is designed this way. Like this version of the game is designed for two separate buttons for that.
Yeah. I kind of wish that there were I don't know. Again, it makes no sense that they wouldn't at least give us different controller options and stuff like that with all that. It'd be so cool to see GameCube control support with that. It makes little sense that they wouldn't put that in, and it'd been awesome to have better camera control as well. Like that doesn't seem like a very difficult thing to fix in a remake, but I don't know. It does. It seems weird, I guess, to me that a lot of this seems rushed when I feel like they had tons of time to make this exactly as it should have been. But I don't know. What do you guys think about that?
Yeah, definitely. I agree. I'm kind of curious personally because I've never played Sunshine. I know everyone always talks about, the fact that they wish they had the analog triggers and this and all that. So I'm curious as to like my first experience this way, if I'm going to notice that it's kind of weird or if it'll just be fine or what. But yeah, I mean, I don't see why they couldn't support different controller options. Like, this truly was a very bare minimum port and collection. I mean, that's truly what it comes down to. Honestly, I feel like it's kind of like the Nintendo story sometimes is like just so much potential there, but they just give us just enough to get us to keep going, and we enjoy it. It's good, but we always want more, and that's just like the forever Nintendo story.
Couldn't agree more.
Yep. Very great to have all the games, but there's some stuff that could have been better. They could have fixed the controls in 64 and Sunshine. I mean, I haven't seen Galaxy yet, so I don't know, but it sounds like it's more up to speed to like match what the Wii remote did than what the Pro Controller was able to do for 64 and Sunshine.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder how different this compilation would have been had the coronavirus not actually happened. Like, would this have come out sooner?
Yeah, honestly, I don't think it would have been very different. I think, it's one of those things like this game, for all that, everyone, has all the complaints with it. I mean, it like sold insanely well as a limited thing. I think it probably just would have released earlier, like just timing wise, but otherwise I think it would have been the same thing.
Yeah.
I don't think Nintendo has any reason to put in more effort into it. And I think they're justified business wise, given how well it's, been selling, unfortunately, I guess, and for us that want more, but
yeah.
And I think the sales are more due to the limited nature of it, and it's getting beyond like that scope. It's like, oh, gotta get it before it goes away, and like, oh, I don't want to have to pay like $100 on the scalpers, and gotta get it now. And
the kicker about that is, yes, FOMO is 100% playing a factor into it, but all games are limited. All games have a set amount of time to be printed. Nintendo just told us what it is. Like, many other games get one print or two prints, or maybe even more. Nintendo games themselves go out of print. Certain games like Hyrule Warriors right now, it's out of print. So all they did was pretty much let us know the deadline. If they didn't say that and suddenly it just became scarce come April, it would have been like, oh, I guess that's it. I guess they're done printing it. No one would have thought anything. And then you would have had a whole bunch of people at the end saying, oh, I wish I had bought it. Now they're missing out. Now it would have risen even higher in the secondhand market. Instead, those that were even debating it are just grabbing it now. They're not risking it.
Right. Yeah. It essentially made it an instant collector's item instead of letting it become that later.
Yeah, instant collector's item, the printing of millions of copies. It's not a collector's item at all. It's limited based on how many copies, so it's probably limited to like 15 million. And if you consider 15 million limited, which it technically is, it's not a collector's item. Something that's 15 million of it out there, that's plenty.
Right. I mean, it depends on, I mean, everything is a collector's item at some level. So it's better than, there's like 30 million, closer to that. But anyway, Chris the artist said hi. Hi, Chris. And let's see, Jakester says, and think about this, that was rumored back in March. It seems like they had a lot more time, but he's thinking if it was released back in May, it would have just been like the same thing, just back in May instead of August. And then Jesse Glenn said the 3D All-Stars would have been incredible if it was also made for the 3DS as official last 3DS game with stereoscopic effects. That would have been interesting for sure. That'd have been kind of really cool. Dave saying that you can see them changing their mind near the end of March. The digital delisting is still baffling. Yeah, we totally agree about that. That's a weird thing for sure. Like, yeah, we had a collector's item on a digital game. What? Speaking of which, however, jump rope challenge is like going off today or tomorrow or something like that. So if you haven't got jump rope challenge for free yet, make sure you get that, because that's also going to be a digital collector's item, weirdly enough. Yeah, so that's our thoughts on 3D All Stars so far. Let's jump into the news, because we have a ton, as I alluded to earlier at the top of the podcast, a ton to just talk about, and we're almost at an hour already just talking about what we've been playing and 3D All-Stars. So we're going to fly through a lot of announcements tonight that have happened over the last couple of weeks. So be sure to head to NintendoFuse.com for more details on all these stories that we're going to be talking about. Most of those stories are written by Dave, so thanks, Dave, for being an awesome author on our site. But we're going to hit a lot of stuff tonight as quick as possible. Try to go through the details and then getting into some discussion for that. So let's jump into the first one, and that goes back to September 17th. We had another Nintendo Direct Mini Partner Showcase. And yeah, it seems like this is a month-to-month thing at this point. We've had several of over the last few months. I think this is the third one, basically a monthly Nintendo Direct Mini Partner Showcase. And yeah, a good chunk of the time was spent on Monster Hunter Rise. In fact, we had a separate Monster Hunter Direct right after this one that I don't think anybody was expecting. But then, yeah, here are the games that they talked about. They showed Monster Hunter Rise, which is coming March 26th. Of 2021, Monster Hunter Stories 2 Wings of Ruin, which is coming in summer 2021, Fitness Boxing 2 Rhythm and Exercise on December 4th of this year, Disgaea Defiance of Destiny coming summer 2021, Disgaea 5 Game Trial is actually the last day is today, actually September 29th, but that's exclusively for Nintendo Switch Online members. So if you haven't got that and you're listening to this either live or right after, go jump on that, because it's basically about over. Empire of Sins coming on December 1st. Sniper Elite 4 is coming holiday this year. The Long Dark is September 17th, so that's already passed at this point as well. That was that same day. PGA Tour 2K21. Digital is available now, and the physical went live on September 25th. Hades came that same day on September 17th. Is it Balin or Balin? I forget. Balin Wonderworld is coming on March 26th of 2021. Rune Factory 5 is coming sometime in 2021. And surprise, Ori and the Will of the Wisps dropped on September 17th as well. So that was kind of a little bit out of nowhere, because we didn't expect that game, and we were actually told that wasn't coming to Switch, so that's a little surprising. But let's just kind of go around the horn and share your thoughts about all this, and kind of highlight any games that you're particularly excited about. Greg, we're going to go to you first.
Yeah, it just feels like the September 17th was so long ago.
Right?
I did watch it live, and I just remember, like Hassan had predicted, it was like right after the last podcast. But all right, well, I'm not huge into Monster Hunter, so most of those were not really appealing to me. It's still great that they're coming for fans of the series. I completely missed this Gaia game trial. Would have loved to try that out, and that kind of came and went without me even being able to try it. It's kind of my type of game, so maybe I'll have another demo at some point. I don't really remember too much about some of the other titles. Nothing was really sticking out to me, so I know it must not have been the most geared towards me for this particular one. I think that Will of the Wisp one did sound kind of interesting, though, if I do remember right, but that's the only one that really stands out from on the name recognition.
Nice. Hassan, how about you?
In general, these partner showcases have just not been for me. I think I don't think there's been, out of any of the partner showcases we've had, anything that I've been like excited about personally. That being said, this one I think, in comparison, definitely had some higher caliber announcements, and there's definitely things that I can understand why this one was a good one. I think, in terms of the Monster Hunter announcements, Ori, and some other things. So I think overall, this actually, lived up to the Nintendo Direct hype. I think from what I've seen online. I think personally, I am kind of curious about Ori and the Will of the Wisp. I've heard a lot about it, but I have Game Pass, so I was looking at it the other day. I probably will just check it out on Game Pass anyways, just to see how it is. Yeah, I guess it's good announcements in general, but just nothing much for me specifically.
Yeah. Barry, I know we were chatting the day of, and I had mentioned like this definitely seems like it's geared more to the adult and teen audience, and I know you were pretty excited. What announcements are you particularly excited about, or is it pretty much all of them?
I just shake my head at you, Greg, and Son, man. This was by far the best partner showcase they've had. I'm not a big Monster Hunter fan. I own all the games, and I tried 3 Ultimate on the 3DS and the Wii U, and I wasn't feeling it. It just didn't grab me. Monster Hunter Rise looks great, and it just all right, I'm gonna give the series another shot. I'm gonna jump back in. And then Monster Hunter Stories 2, the first 100 stories I had planned to play. It was on my docket. I owned it. I got it. And I was ready to play it. I just never got around to it. So now I'm kind of like, maybe I'll dust off the 3DS and play it. Because especially the art style for Stories 2 looks phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. And it's an RPG. I love RPGs. So I always support them. So it's definitely something I'm interested in checking out. My wife loved fitness boxing, so I'm sure she'll enjoy fitness boxing too. Disgaea 6, being at least in America a Switch exclusive, is pretty big. Empire's Sin looks pretty good, but it's not my style of game. Same with Sniper Elite 4 and The Long Dark. And while I own PGA Tour 2K21, I might open it when my father-in-law's in town because he loves golf and let him play it, but it's certainly not a game for me. Hades, I've heard nothing but excellent things about, and I'm waiting for a physical to dive into that. Balan Wonderworld was my game of the show when they had the Xbox Series X reveal. I love Knights. I love Sonic, Yuji Naka. The music is gorgeous. It's just beautiful. The world looks beautiful. The idea, I am so excited for that game. And Rune Factory 5, again, a series that I owned, I didn't touch on, and then I played Rune Factory 4 Special earlier this year and absolutely fell in love with that game. So Rune Factory 5 can't get here soon enough. This game was revived. It was dead. It shouldn't have ever come out, and it's coming out, and it looks fantastic. So that will absolutely get my time. And Ori and the Will of the Wisps. I've heard nothing but great things about the Ori games. I love Metroidvanias. I really want to play them. I own them physically in the Xbox One, but knowing me, I'm waiting for the physical of the Switch to come out. Or that's going to be the first games I play on the Series X when it comes. Will be Ori 1 and 2. So we'll see there. But either way, I'm really excited to see Switch get it.
Cool. Going in the chat, Jakester agrees with you. He says it was definitely the best of the 3 direct minis. Jakester, I'm curious, can we actually call this a direct now? That's what I want to know, because he was like, we shouldn't call them direct. Actually, I think we said that on the podcast as well. Rune Factory 5 was a highlight for him as well. He also he's excited about Monster Hunter Stories 2, Rune Factory 5, and Ori 2. Dave says he might give Rise a chance, and Rise pre-orders apparently on Amazon just went live as well. So if you guys were waiting on that, they just went live on Amazon. I agree with all you guys. I mean, like, this was an exciting partner showcase for sure. And I don't know if I will end up getting a lot of these games, but it was really cool to see a lot of these games. Monster Hunter, like you guys, I've given it a shot in the past. I actually really enjoyed Monster Hunter 3, but I just realized like Monster Hunter demands so much time, and I don't know if I have the time to like really dedicate it to really enjoy the game. Even though this one looks really good, I'm just like, I have less time now than when I had Monster Hunter 3. Should I actually even try this? I mean, it took me like 2 years to even finish Torna, so it's a lot smaller game. So I don't know about that. And then Hades, of course, looked interesting. I've actually never played a Wonderworld game. I've seen the games a lot, but I've never actually played them. This one might be the one that gets me to jump into it. I love that style of game. Like you said, Barry, all of the ones that have come before is just like, they're beautiful. The art style and everything is really cool. Platforming kind of.
What are you talking about?
About WoW and Wonderworld.
Oh, you're talking Sonic and Knights.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, not
I was like, this is the first one of this series.
Sorry. Yeah, I meant that. Yeah, all those other ones. I haven't been a Rune Factory fan, so like it's cool. I love that it's coming back, but I've never been into the games. But Ori and the Will of the Wisps, like the art style alone will drive me to actually get that. I haven't gotten it yet, but it is on my list to eventually get. I just haven't pulled the trigger on it yet, but it will be a game that I will play because like it's good platforming, it's beautiful, it's got that Metroidvania kind of vibe. It's just awesome, and so yeah, pretty excited about all this for sure. Let's see. I think that's pretty much it for the Nintendo Partners Showcase. But moving on, we also got a word, kind of a sad article that Dave told me, kind of peeking behind the scenes, I guess, as well. And Dave said this is one of the hardest articles, the saddest articles that he's written for us so far, because the Nintendo 3DS has ended production. Finally, in a statement to GamesIndustry.biz, Nintendo confirmed that the Nintendo 3DS family of systems ended production this year. And they went on to say that we can confirm that the manufacturing of the Nintendo 3DS family of systems has ended. Nintendo and third-party games for the Nintendo 3DS family of systems will continue to be available in the Nintendo eShop or on Nintendo.com and at retail. The existing library of more than 1,000 Nintendo 3DS games contains many critically acclaimed titles and can provide years of content to explore and enjoy. So that means the 3DS and, of course, the 2DS family of systems are now in the Nintendo's past. And Nintendo is back to being essentially a one console system. So what do you guys think about this news? It's something that I think we knew was coming eventually, but it's funny that we actually even speculated, I think, that they may hold on to the 2DS for a little longer, but it seems that they've went ahead and pulled the plug on it. So Hassan, what do you think about this?
I honestly, I guess I hadn't really thought about it much, but I part of me just kind of thought that they had sort of stopped production, or I forgot about the 2DS in some way, like that was still going. It's one of those things that, like, I look back on the 3DS, and there were just so many great games, so many great moments with that system. Great system, and such great value for a long time, especially with the 2DS, like such a low entry to get into that platform, and then there's so many great options to purchase, and so that's fantastic for people to get into the Nintendo world of things, but personally, I haven't touched my 3DS in a long time, so it's just one of those things that's like, let's further focus on the Switch, let's maybe produce more Switch systems, produce that Switch Pro or whatever, we'll see. But I think it's about that time now. As the Switch was always talked about being, I forget the exact terminology that Iwata had used early on, but like how it would be like almost like a platform or like its own sort
pillar?
of ecosystem. Not necessarily a third pillar, but like a like Switch. Like it would be more of like a set of devices or something. Before it was called the Switch, right? And so and you kind of see that now with the Switch and Switch Lite and potentially a Switch Pro, like, you know, and going forward, seeing what they end up doing with it, I think like this is sort of the new era, I guess, going forward. And so I guess it makes sense at some point to pivot towards just going all in on that now.
Yeah. Greg, what do you think about the 3DS going away?
Well, it's definitely disheartening. There's lots of incredible games on it, but it almost seems like it was on for a little bit longer than it should have, to be honest. Like, I don't think I've really touched it since the first year the Switch was out. I mean, I think it was right around this time with, like, Odyssey launching. It was just like, okay, well, 3DS is essentially dead to me at this point. So
You've played more Game Boy Advance than you have 3DS, probably.
yeah, well, that's just I got a new
Historia
game for the Advance.
I thought Radiant Historia came out in 2019? Or was it 2018?
I think it was 2018. Yeah.
Yeah, that was definitely my last game, and I absolutely loved it. I did love it on the DS as well, but yeah, it's felt like it should have ended right around like 2017, 2018, but I understand that they needed to keep it around just to make sure that the Switch was going to be the item hot off the press and be the next best thing. So
Yeah, 2018.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was definitely had a incredible library of games. If you never played the 3DS, definitely there's tons to recommend. I know Hassan's personal favorite was the Happy Home Designer, so
Yeah, it was like my 3DS, you know, game of the year or something at one point.
That's funny. Barry, what do you think about 3DS going away?
I mean, we've known it was happening. The writing's been on the wall forever. We haven't seen a new game physically or since 2019, I believe, early 2019. And the last one, I believe, was Persona Q2 physically. And even that game, they didn't do like English voices. It was just like subtitles, even the Japanese. Like, quick, let's get it out. Yeah, it's been way longer than I expected. I didn't expect it to happen this late. 2019, I expected it to happen, but I figured, you know what, maybe they'll hold on for the holiday because games did come out 2020 early on, get rid of it. And now it's so late that I almost feel like they might as well wait until January, February 2021 and at least ride out the holiday with it. But it is what it is. There was no way they were keeping the 3DS on. Now the question is, this is the first time since the NES that Nintendo's only had one system out. They've always had two or more systems since 1989. So will we see a new system, and will the Switch take the 3DS's slot?
I think really that's the question, and I hadn't really thought about it until you guys were talking about, like, you know, with the 3DS and especially the 2DS now gone, like there's no low end entry for
Switch
Nintendo.
Lite.
Well, Switch Lite, I guess, yeah. But like the 2DS was even cheaper than that. So the 2DS is a low end entry, but it's not as low as what the 2DS was. And so I wonder, what if they finally do a price drop this fall or this holiday, and then get as many of those out as they can, because they're also, if they do this other console early 2021, like that, they're essentially competing with themselves at that point, because like a lot of console developers, right, they announce one thing and their current console sales just drop because people wait for the next one, except for Xbox, because people got confused, which I don't blame them. So many people are ordering Xbox X and probably expecting a Series X, but usually what happens is their sales just drop. And so what if like they do announce a Switch Pro or whatever, but they also do a price drop for the existing one, creating a lower barrier of entry for those people that do want it right away. But then they're able to just keep their sales numbers up, and then probably sell a lot next year with the whatever system if they come out to that. The only thing that I'm like playing devil's advocate in my own head, because I'm like, do they even need a price drop because they're still flying off the shelves? Like I actually saw a Switch, like several Switch, the Animal Crossing ones in Best Buy the other day. It was really surprising because they're coming back in stock, but they're still flying off the shelves. So will they need a price drop at all, or is a $199 entry with the Switch Lite good enough? But
I think it depends on how well the other consoles do this holiday.
Yeah. And honestly, I think for this holiday season, I think the Switch is still selling so well. I don't see them doing much for this holiday. But then going into next year in the spring or whatever, I could definitely see a combo price drop with the Switch Pro or whatever. But I think it's just still selling well.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I would be with you, and I would think like release a bundle or something with the game or whatever. But honestly, I don't think Nintendo needs to with the way that it's been going.
Yeah,
So,
that's true.
We'll see.
Yeah. Greg, we're jumping ahead in our plan. I don't know if you guys saw, I moved this because I think it makes so much sense for us to talk about these Nintendo's Switch Pro rumors right now. We've been talking about these rumors for a long time, but Greg, you've heard that Capcom shared some information. Is that right? Fill us in on the latest rumors.
Well, not Capcom themselves.
There's
I guess there's like I wish I knew the person's like name or handle or whatever that they're going by, but I guess there's like a Capcom leaker that kind of predicted like Monster Hunter Rise that we kind of briefly discussed from the highlight reel from the Nintendo Direct, and I guess somebody asked him on Twitter, was like, oh, do you have like any like Nintendo news to share? And then was saying like, well, I can like say that the Switch Pro is like real, but obviously we don't have any details on like availability or like when it's going to be available or even like the final specs, but it's definitely like something that's like exists. And there's like other rumors going around with some developers are being told to have their games be 4K ready. So it's like, does this mean that the Switch Pros be like 4K and get a big bump? So there's lots of stuff like flying around that's like, is the Switch Pro is going to be almost like a successor, or is it really just going to be a somehow mild bump but still be able to be so much stronger than the current model is? So
yeah, what do you guys think about this? Because I know we talked about it a lot, but I mean it seems like it's I mean, with all these rumors getting stronger and stronger, things like that, it seems like the writing is on the wall for me. Barry, do you think it's actually going to happen this time?
We've been predicting it for a long time. Yes, I do. And the reason for that is I think they're going to have to. As I've stated multiple times, one of the things that helped the Switch out is that there were still games being made for the 360 and the PS3, and a lot of those games could be ported over. And while we have seen some PS4, Xbox One ports, they have had to make some cuts to be able to work on the Switch, and now going into the PS5 and the Xbox X, we have even less options for ports going forward. So I think they need to do it just for the third parties, if nothing else, to make it easier for them. And if you look, and I truly believe the date that the Switch Pro as an integration up is going to launch is going to be March 26, 2021. That is my prediction date. And the reason why I have that is not only was this person from Capcom, but Monster Hunter Rise and Balan Wonderworld both released the exact same day. Both games are graphically intensive and will be, or the Rise won't be, but Balan will be on the Xbox One X and the PS5. So it definitely makes sense to have the graphical power to enhance both of these games. They're big games. Monster Hunter has historically also launched with Nintendo systems because Monster Hunter 4 Generations came out the same day as Majora's Mask 3D, which was also the same day as the new 3DS XL. So it's They've done it once, they can do it again. So that's my prediction. I do not think it will be the Switch 2. I think we're going to wait probably another 2 years for that, just based on how well the Switch is selling. Nintendo only moves on quickly when they need to. The Switch is still selling extremely well. This will just be an upgrade. Hopefully a significant upgrade, especially for the third parties. But I guess we'll see, as it gets closer.
For sure. Yeah. Hudson, what do you think?
Yeah, I think this Switch Pro, I don't think it's necessarily going to be called that, but I think it's definitely real. I think I was just looking at like Wall Street Journal articles from like 2019 and stuff, and they were saying as far back at that point is that Nintendo was working on 2 Switch models coming, and I think like it's one of those things where it's probably been in the plans for a while, but as the Switch has just sold so well, I think they've probably just kind of been holding off on releasing any upgraded version, and then obviously the pandemic happened this year, which probably continue to push things further. And I think it truly makes sense. Like you said, you do the price drop. Your Switch Lite is your low point of entry. It's really a handheld, right? So it's essentially your 3DS successor in a way. Then you have the Switch, price drop it. It's kind of your base model, and then you have the Switch Pro or whatever it's called as kind of the enhanced version. I don't think it's going to be anything. I'm honestly keeping expectations low as far as like the enhancements. Like maybe it'll up-res things up to 4K or something, but like I don't think this thing's going to be like a powerhouse, or even as like the PS4 Pro or Xbox One X were. I think it's it's only going to be so much because of the fact that it still will have to run in handheld mode. I think it's going to be one that's still a hybrid type thing, but I think it's Nintendo's way of cranking out some extra juice for some of those games, especially with Breath of the Wild sequel and other games like Barry mentioned that may be a bit more graphically intensive, just to have a little bit more power there to keep things going. So yeah, at this point, it's just I think March 2021 is as good a time as any. Like release Breath of the Wild 2, and we'll get a just what is it? That'd be 4 years from the Switch launch, in March again, and kind of good time, I think.
Absolutely.
Now,
We'll see.
because like all these rumors happened years ago at this point, do you think that when the Switch Pro comes out, it will be stronger because it's been delayed all this time, because technology, as time goes on, technology gets cheaper, better technology gets cheaper. Do you think because we will be getting it in 2021, it's actually going to be stronger and more powerful than it would have been had it come out 2019, like with those articles when we were getting 2 models?
So you're really saying, are they going to pull a 3D All-Stars with the Switch Pro or not?
Yeah, right? Yeah. Well, so we know what the answer is probably gonna be. What do we want it to be? No, I think even those Wall Street Journal articles were like, these Switch models could launch as soon as this summer. And then I think, when did the Switch Lite come that year in 2019 or
2019? Yeah.
September.
Right? Link's Awakening.
Yeah, so I feel like, the Switch Pro probably wasn't necessarily even a 2019 release, but that maybe they were gearing up for a early 2020 release, and then, maybe it got pushed back a little bit, and then the pandemic hit, and then I don't think they're going to make too many changes, to be completely honest. I think Nintendo, honestly, it's probably going to be a matter of some of the components are cheaper now, and so they're probably just going to want to, be able to make bigger profit margins on some of it, maybe throw in some slightly better quality components inside, but I don't foresee this being like a big bump, because the thing is, Nintendo, no matter what they do, they're not going to be able to compete. Well, one, to jump up to the 1X and PS4 Pro would be a big jump, but now we're getting the Series X and PS5. They just can't compete at that graphics level right now. So I think it's just a matter of how do they extend the Switch's lifetime a little bit longer before they get to a full new model. So I'm really not expecting a huge jump.
So what you're saying is they're going to look at the criticisms from 3D All-Stars and go, clearly we understand what you want. Here's the Switch Pro. It's a Switch with analog shoulder buttons. There you go. Now you can play Sunshine and have fun.
If only.
Yeah. It's funny that I think like part of me wants the powerhouse, Part of me wants them to finally just make that jump and go for it. But the other part of me like says, you know what? I would be happy if we just got a small spec bump to get us at least close to 4K, get us better frame rate so those frame rate issues don't happen anymore. Get slightly better controls, like maybe analog trigger control, and like some small other things, better battery life, a better dock that like jumps up there. I'm okay. I'm totally okay with the vast majority of the games being 720p and handheld because it still looks good on that screen. But they could even bump out the bezels a little bit, make it just look like a more modern system, and I'd be happy actually. And I think I'd probably shell out my money for that if I knew that it was like they were working on something that was going to take them to the next level. Like I don't want it like right after because I only have so much money. But I do want it like at some point. I want to be able to play some of those games that I'm seeing on PS5 and Xbox Series X on my Switch or a Nintendo console.
Well, the other thing to consider though is like Microsoft. So I know everyone's like in the 4K and all this world right now. Like Microsoft with their Series S is not 4K at 300. So even they recognize that there's still a market out there that for people that are willing to, not have to shell out the big bucks and still get something that's still pretty decent. Now, obviously, that has all sorts of other features with ray tracing and all that. But point being, they still see a market where there's people that aren't fully into the full 4K at this point. So I don't know that Nintendo is going to fully jump in, on that end of it either. But I would love them to.
Yeah. Yeah. Greg, what do you think about this?
There was one thing that I think I just kind of forgot to mention, at least initially. I don't know if it was like the investor briefing or if it's part of the rumors, but I thought like Nintendo was saying they were trying to find like stronger, like more powerful like stuff to like be researching it to see if it would fit with like the Switch. So I'm really trying to remember if that was just like hearsay rumor or if that was actually part of the last briefing that we didn't cover. I didn't find like the news article about, but that definitely seemed pretty fascinating that they're suddenly now concerned like with more power race if true. So it could actually be stronger than we're thinking, unless it's again somebody's just trying to blow flames and get everybody super excited, and then it's just like, it's just gonna be like, instead of 30 frames per second, now it's like 31 frames per second or something. Like I know it's not the logical grade there, but that was just part of how Nintendo covers it in the past, at least. So
yeah, I think they're gonna have to do something possibly if they want to make that jump, because it's NVIDIA, right, that makes the chip that's in there right now, and they've only got like that style of chip that they use in that is only like one generation, I think, better at this point, which could be a good spec bump for the Switch if they just jumped up to the newer NVIDIA chip. But if they want to compete with the next level, like the soon to be generation of consoles, then they're going to have to probably look elsewhere, I think, unless they redesign everything and go with a completely different system on a chip or whatever. Definitely be interesting for sure. I'm hoping for something. It'd be cool. At least, I mean, I want the frame rate bump. That's really the big thing I want. I want analog triggers and a frame rate bump. I'll be happy.
Yeah. I do know that the investor briefing, they said there was not going to be any hardware before the fiscal year, which again is March, so Barry's date could be
right there,
right on par. So Barry might be the new special insider that knows the data.
Maybe I do.
Hey, he is a publisher now.
Saying anything,
It totally makes sense. It definitely does. So I think I'm on board with you, Barry. It makes a lot of sense to put it right there. Well, let's move on to a story that I don't think anybody here. In fact, show of hands. Did anybody see Microsoft buying Bethesda? Did anybody see that coming? Anybody?
Was not my bingo card.
No. Oh my gosh. Yeah. So Microsoft bought Bethesda.
Well, it wasn't just Bethesda. They
the
bought
entire. They bought the parent company, which came with what does that all come with, Barry?
It was like 9 studios totally, including like id Software and Bethesda.
That's crazy. And so the big story here really is its connection to Nintendo. Bethesda has games that are supposed to be coming out on Switch, including Doom Eternal, and some others as well. And so, like, are they still going to support the Switch? Is that still going to happen and everything? And Bethesda has stated I think did Phil Spencer actually was the one that said it?
Yeah, I think it was Phil.
Phil said that they were going to continue to support it on a quote case-by-case basis. And so the games that they've already stated were going to come out are still going to come out, and then in the future they're going to consider it on a case-by-case basis, which doesn't necessarily surprise me because we've seen Microsoft games come to Switch already. It's a big story. There's not a whole lot to like in details to talk about, except for like this is a big thing that happened. Just general thoughts about this big purchase, and do you guys, I guess, maybe speculate a little bit? Do you think they're actually going to really support it, or is that just kind of his way of saying, yeah, we'll do it a case by case basis, and it's a no after no, and all of a sudden they become like Electronic Arts. It doesn't support Nintendo at all anymore, basically. Greg, what do you think?
I don't know. I think if they already made like previous commitments, I would think they need to honor those. So I think their case-by-case basis is like, I know there was like a PS5 exclusive or whatever, and they still confirmed that was going to still be not affected. So I'd like to assume that anything that was previously known and announced would be still going to their normal platform where it was intended. Obviously, the future is still up in the air. We don't know if like any new Elder Scrolls games will be going to other platforms, and certainly they don't have to anymore because they'd be they'd be Microsoft for the first party. So, I mean, the way that they've been going with Nintendo would be be nice if they were still able to put some games on the platform, but they wouldn't have to anymore.
Yeah.
I don't know. It could go either way, and it could definitely be very interesting. And it's very good for Xbox to have some more exclusive, like first-party series on their platforms. It just kind of stinks for those of us that like them on other platforms.
Right. And Microsoft's been doing this for the last several years. I mean, they're in a huge buying spree, and this just like sent them, like, they were already buying a lot of companies, and this is a gigantic one. Barry, do you think there's an end to what Microsoft will buy?
Microsoft,
will they buy Nintendo eventually?
Microsoft has just been buying every E3. It's just like, look how many more studios we bought. You want exclusives, we're buying them. We can't make them ourselves, so we buy the studios that can make them. Do I think this is going to affect the Switch? Not as much. Like, I'd be really shocked if Doom Eternal doesn't come to the Switch. They did state they would honor all pre-existing agreements. So the timed exclusive, like Deathloop and Tokyo Ghostwire, or whatever it is, that's still coming first to the PS5, and then going to the Xbox after. It's just one of those things where Xbox wants to be a service. They've proven this. So they're comfortable putting their games onto the platforms when they feel it makes sense. Even Cuphead went to PS4. Obviously, Ori is now going to the Switch. However, one thing I'm noticing is that with a lot of these games, there needs to be like an outside third party. Kind of like back in the day when Rare was bought. Rare still put games out on the GBA, but they were published by THQ. Like, there was an outside third party that did it. And even Ori, the reason we're getting Ori Will of the Wisp is not because of Microsoft or Moon Studios. It's because I'm 8-Bit is the digital publisher and physical publisher of the game. So I'm 8-Bit is standing in there saying, we're doing it. We want this beautiful collector's edition. We want to put this whole thing, we're going to put it out digitally, and I believe if I Am 8-Bit didn't push out for that, we wouldn't get Will of the Wisps. That's just how I believe it to be. I think they were the instigator to do that. So Microsoft also doesn't look at the Switch as a true competitor, and Phil Spencer loves Nintendo. I mean, he was on Animal Talking. He has a Switch. He plays Nintendo games. He probably grew up with Nintendo games like all of us. He absolutely loves Nintendo. So I do not see any game that was planned to come to the Switch or will be able to come to the Switch. I think they're still going to do it. Mojang still puts everything out on the Switch. They've been really supportive. And as for your question, will Microsoft buy Nintendo? I'm sure if Microsoft could, they would have bought them ASAP. They would buy them right now. I don't think that's ever happening because the Japanese are very prideful and they do not want to be owned by Americans. Therefore, Nintendo, I doubt, will ever sell. However, now there's rumors that Sega is now in the crosshairs, and again, Japanese company. So the odds of selling to Microsoft, while they've worked together, I don't think are very high. And if anyone does buy Sega, I really would love it to be Nintendo. I think that would just be totally poetic.
That would be really weird, for sure. Yeah, I think even like watching the what's it called, the High Score, the documentary series on Netflix. I just watched the one the other day about the console wars, and it was just so interesting. Every time I watch it, I or hear more about it. And yeah, if Nintendo ended up owning Sega at some point, yeah, that'd be weird.
That would be great.
Yeah. Hudson, what do you think about? Oh, go ahead, Greg.
I was gonna say it would be even better if this Nintendo owning Sony, but
that would be weird too.
That would never happen.
Yeah. And let's bring Phillips back into it as well. Hudson, what do you think about this sale and the future of Microsoft, Bethesda, and all that stuff with Switch?
Yeah, I think I agree with everything that was said. I think Microsoft really has kind of just been focused more on, as Barry said, they're a service now, and they're really providing the games. I just was able to play Xbox games on an Android phone. Through their cloud gaming feature, and so I think I still foresee them releasing something or still putting out content on Switch in the future. I think honestly this is probably going to affect PlayStation owners more, because I think they're more direct competitors, and so I think there's going to be some games that may stay exclusive to Microsoft or timed exclusives, whereas on the Switch, slightly different audience, and they also do release games later as well, like with Ori. It's an older game, but we're getting it on the Switch later, so I think that's probably still going to continue happening, but I'm sure there's going to be some franchises or some games in the future that are truly just exclusive now, because you don't pay $7.5 billion just to keep the status quo. You pay it because you want the exclusives, because you don't have as many, big exclusives, and you want to, promote that as well. So I think this is definitely a big move, and it'll be interesting to see how it all plays out.
Yeah. Absolutely. Well, let's move on, because we are already nearing closer and closer to that 2-hour mark, and we have several stories still to talk about, and big ones at that. We're gonna move up the story about NintendoLife, because they're of course, we don't really have regular conversations with them or anything like that, but we consider them friends in the industry there, and started around the same time. And NintendoLife has kind of just blown up over the years, and they have recently, as connected to PAX, was able to do an Indie Spotlight, which is really cool. And so I'm just going to quickly run through all the games. That was back on September 17th, I believe. And so they had a ton of games. Just head over to NintendoLife.com if you want to check out more. You can watch the entire thing on their YouTube channel as well. But Go Nintendo actually had a really quick just a summary of all the different games that were highlighted and everything. So I'm just going to quickly run through those and get you guys' thoughts about all that was announced at Nintendo Life's Indie Spotlight. So At and Ball Deluxe comes to Switch in 2021. Hatch Tales comes to Switch in 2021 and features a playable Max from the Mutant Mudds, which is pretty cool. Hyperball Tournament launches on October 20th, 2020. Curse of Life was announced for Switch, just in general. Tense is a puzzle and dice game, is also coming to Switch. Mind Seas is coming to Switch in September 2020. So that actually, was that out already? We got like 1 day left if it's not.
I think it's out.
Is it out? Okay. Cake Bash was also announced for Switch. Potion Permit coming to Switch. Kataria, I'm guessing. I don't know. Kataria Fables. It was revealed for Switch. Always Legacy is coming, or actually came out today on September 29th. Victory Heat Rally will come to Switch if the Kickstarter is a success. And retro title Cathedral was also announced for Switch. And then Declines drops Space Grunts 1974, Feline Revolution, Heroes of Loot 1 and 2, Memoranda, Sunshine Manor, Death Ray Manta, Maya Unhappily Ever After, Star Dash, Astro, Aqua Kitty, Ninja. I have no idea how to pronounce that. Ninga? I don't know. The Diplomat Warrior. Nairi, Rising Tide, Astral, Equilibrium, Residual, Home, Poker Club, Double Pug Switch, Clive and Wrench, Chama, and Bazir are all confirmed for Switch. And also, Petadachi was announced for Switch and coming out in 2021 as well. So a lot of games that were highlighted by the NintendoLife Indie Spotlight. So great job, NintendoLife, for doing, just continuing to do a great job in all the Nintendo coverage and getting a cool event like this. I'll admit, I wasn't able to watch it yet, and kind of forgot about it in the whole slew of information and news that we had over the last couple weeks. What do you guys think about this? Were you able to watch it? What do you think about the Indie Spotlight? Let's go to you first, Barry.
Yeah. So I got to watch it, and it was really interesting to see it done very much in Nintendo Direct style. And it was just game after game after game after game. Like, they talked about it a little bit, but they really brought a lot to the table. Like, I was expecting maybe some stuff we've seen already and a few new stuff. I didn't expect the amount of games that were just listed off. I was like, holy crap, this is a lot of games. Definitely not what I was expecting. And some of these are cool to see because they were already out on other platforms, like Home and Aqua Kitty, which I actually have physicals of, so I was like, oh, I instantly recognize. That's really cool. The last game, their One More Thing, which they actually made fun of, like, oh, you know how this goes. There's always a one more thing. Petadachi, Toei is the company that did, like, Mutant Muds and
right, because they split and they changed the names or something like that. Is that right?
I don't know.
Yeah, it was Renegade Kid, and
Renegade
and then they split to a 2E and whatever the other one was.
Yeah, so this is from them. So Petadachi is like a Tamagotchi style game, but it's more like in 3D, and you get to like play with your pet, and it still has like the old screen with like feed, and a little cheeseburger goes out and all that stuff. I thought that was really cute. I don't know how it's going to totally play, but it's just one of those, like, that's really neat. Sunshine Manor looked really cool. It's like a haunted mansion kind of thing, or like almost like an old school Friday the 13th NES style. A couple of Victory Heat Rally. I hope that Kickstarter is a success. Just a lot of these titles. They have a lot of promise there. I don't know how they're going to play, but there's a lot of promise, and it really shows that in this year with the pandemic and Nintendo not having the ideal year, the indies are really stepping up, and there's a lot of games here to fill the void.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. Hassan, what do you think about this? Did you get a chance to see it first, and what's your thoughts?
No, yeah, I actually didn't know that this was a thing. So that's just looking at this list, I'm kind of like impressed, just like all the games in here that were included. So I definitely got to go check this out. So yeah, kind of cool if they did this.
Cool. Immediately, I thought of you, Greg, when I saw Cathedral, because it's Metroidvania. Yeah, did you get a chance to see this? Anything stand out at all?
I didn't get to watch it in its entirety. I started it around the time, and then I think like I must have closed the browser at some point and totally forgot that this had existed. So it's like I've watched some of it, but I didn't get to see the entire thing of it. But as what you guys were saying, it's incredible that they had so many games covered there. So, and if you're listening, I think NintendoFuse would be willing to help you out, and we'd love to create our own Nintendo Direct-esque video for you guys. So,
Greg, thanks for volunteering me, since you do so much video editing that will fall on me, and I don't know if I want that kind of pressure on myself. But yeah, sure, bring it on.
just think of the people we get to hit our site.
That'd be so crazy. Like to think at that point, like I mean, seriously, good job, Nintendo Life. It's so cool because they really started out just like us, some independent guys that just love Nintendo, and it's just blown up into something really awesome. So great job, for sure. Speaking of Nintendo Life, they've got some coverage on the Tokyo Game Show, which has also happened over the last couple weeks. Seriously, I mean, come on. No game news for like 5 months, and all of a sudden they decided to pile it on all at the same time. Tokyo Game Show, Nintendo Life, thanks to you guys for kind of compiling all the Switch highlights, and there were a lot. The big one was Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity, coming out on November 20th. We've talked about this, I think, on our last podcast as well, but just some really cool stuff. Young Impa was revealed as a playable character, and then they showed some more trailers and game footage, and also, Breath of the Wild players are going to receive a bonus of a training sword in Hyrule Warriors. So just some really cool stuff going on there. Monster Hunter Rise was shown off more as well. A lot of gameplay, and just got to see even more about that game. And I think they showed off the amiibo as well. The designs for the amiibo. Puyo Tetris 2 was shown off. Again, it arrives this December. Gal Run returns, is coming. Gal Run? Isn't that what I said? Gal Gun. I said Gal Run, didn't I?
You did.
That's an entirely different game that I'm developing on my own. No, I don't know what I'm talking about. Gal Gun is coming out. Gal Run is the next game in the series. Anyway, that's coming out next year. Death Smiles 1 and 2 coming out in 2021 in Japan. I'm guessing we don't have a release worldwide yet, or if it's going to be worldwide. Dynasty Warriors, not Destiny, that's an entirely different game too. Dynasty Warriors 9 Empires is coming early 2021. Alesta Collection, I don't even know if I'm pronouncing that correctly, was announced, and we're not really sure when it's coming out, but it is eventually. All these games are so difficult to pronounce. Come on. Etelier, Eighthlier, Ryza, I don't know, 2. The Lost Legends and Secret Fairy comes out in winter 2020. Jump Force is coming out with some DLC in 2021. ReZero starting Life in Another World. The Prophecy of the Throne is competing for the longest title and coming out in 2021. Shiren the Wanderer, The Tower of Fortune, and the Dice of Fate is also competing for the longest title, coming out December 2nd. Megaton Masashi, was announced at TGS. And we have a lot of trailers. You guys can go to Nintendo Life if you want to and see all those different trailers. They've compiled them all. If you're watching, you're seeing them scroll on your screen. Yokai Watch Jam, Yokai Academy, DLC or Y DLC is coming out September 30th, so that's tomorrow in Japan. The collection of the Saga games, Final Fantasy Legend, coming out on December 15th, so we get to see a little bit more of that. Kingdom Hearts Melody of Memory, a demo was announced that's going to come out in mid-October. And R-Type Final 2 is coming out in spring 2021. Disgaea 6, Defiance of Destiny, was shown off. Again, that's coming out in 2021 as well in the summer. And I believe that's all the announcements from TGS this year. Again, so much that I probably mispronounced. But yeah, that's all. That's all. That's all we had. Hassan, what do you think about all these games? Anything really stand out that we haven't talked about yet?
Gosh, I think the only thing that I personally got a chance to look at was the new trailer for the Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity. Definitely looking forward to that game. I didn't get a chance to watch any of some gameplay, so I have that on my watch later playlist on YouTube, so I'll get to that soon. But definitely very excited for that. Looks pretty good. The rest of it, I just didn't get a chance to really look at too much.
Yeah, for sure. Greg, you excited about Gal Run or any other games?
I completely missed the Tokyo Game Show, obviously with the slew of everything going on. So I haven't even watched the Age of Calamity video, but I think I might be starting to into that phase where I just don't really want to find out anything more about it because it's already pre-ordered, and I just want to be surprised on what she looks like. I mean, obviously I know she's in the game based on the headline, and I saw that headline prior to the podcast, but I think I might just want to hit that remain surprised thing because I absolutely love Breath of the Wild and don't really want to be spoiled on too much of it as much as I can avoid.
Yeah, makes sense. Barry, there's a lot. I mean, as I look through this list and everything, it's very, very Japan, which makes sense. It is Tokyo Game Show after all. I know you're a big fan of the Japanese games. Which of these stood out the most to you?
Well, I didn't also get to really pay attention to much of Tokyo Game Show. I did watch a little bit of the Capcom presentation. I didn't see any new footage outside of the screenshot of Young Impa for Hyrule Warriors, simply because I don't need it anymore. I'm already super hyped for that game. I don't really need to see any more for it. I did watch the new trailer, but that was it. Monster Hunter Rise again, I talked about, really excited for it. Puyo Puyo Tetris 2. I didn't get a chance to play the first one, but I love both those games, so no reason why this one won't be good. Galgun Returns is awesome to see, simply because it is a very interesting shooter and would never normally be on a Nintendo system, but we got the second one and now we're getting the third one. It's like a shooter where you protect, half-naked women from aliens and stuff trying to attack them, and it's definitely not the kind of thing you think of Nintendo, but it's great to see. I'm really hoping Death Smiles 1 and 2 come here. Great shmup series. We only got the original on the Xbox physically here, so it would be great to see them both come out. I have to imagine Dynasty Warriors 9 is part of the working relationship that's making Hyrule Warriors. So I'm happy to see that. I've never played the Dynasty Warriors or the Empire subset of it, but I'm excited to see it for sure. Last Collection, that one I have no opinion on. Outlia Reza 2, I'm excited for. Another series that I'd love to get into, big RPG series. Those games do not get big print runs. In fact, Rizzo 1 just got like a reprint, and people were snatching it up like it was going for like 200 plus hours. So I'm great to see more footage from this series. It's series started on the PS2, so it's great to see the series continue. I have not played Jump Force yet, but more DLC is good. But I kind of want a new game because I've heard not the best stuff. ReZero is a game that everything I've seen from it looks good. I want to play it. I'm excited to play it. I then found out, and it's a little disappointing, one of the voice actresses confirmed that it will be in English, but the English dub is a free download. It will not be on the card, and that's like the subtitles are there on the card, but they're doing the entire thing English dub, but it won't be on the card. To me, that's just like when the servers go down, that whole translation's lost. So that kind of bothers me. Shiren the Wanderer is part of the Mystery Dungeon series, like Pokemon Mystery Dungeon. If you like that, you'll probably like this. I have played 2 of them. I played the Wii version and I played the Vita version. I did not actually like them, so I'll be getting it because I have to get it, but I will not be really playing it. Megaton Musashi, never heard of that one either, so that one didn't catch me. Weird to see another Yokai Watch game. Where's Yokai Watch 4? That came out in Japan. We still don't have it over here. What the heck? Okay, I think Nintendo seems to not really care about the series anymore. Collection of Saga, fantastic. Absolutely want it physical, make it physical. Same with Kingdom Hearts. Thankfully, that is physical. I love rhythm games, especially the Square Enix one. So that one is one I'm playing. And R-Type Final 2, another great shmup. And finally, Disgaea 6, I already talked about. So yeah, this is a fantastic lineup. I mean, hell, in 2 weeks, if this is all we had, that would be considered a good week. But it's insane on top of all that other stuff. This is crazy how many things. And this is on a pandemic year, and there's so many games coming to the Switch. But what you're not seeing in this picture is all the games that are not coming to the Switch, and more powerful hardware means more of those games could come over as well.
Right. There's a ton of games that, were announced at TGS, just not on Switch, for sure. Just quickly, I'll say that Hyrule Warriors as well, already sold on that game. Really cool to see R-Type Final 2. I haven't played all of the R-Type games, but I really enjoy shmups, and I played the crap out of Super R-Type back on my Super Nintendo. Played it so much. Probably one of the games on my SNES that got played the most was R-Type. Just was so cool to have that style of a game in my house. Because I used to go to the arcades and drop quarter after quarter playing that type of game, and it was just so cool to have a really good one at home. And so I might look into R-Type Final 2 just because I haven't played any of the new ones recently.
Do you know R-Type Dimensions X is on the Switch already?
I do, and it's been tempting, but then I saw this one and I was like, well, I'll just jump past that one and get the new one. Why just I'll just skip over it and get the brand new one. So, Collection of Saga we already talked about before. So cool that one's coming. I probably won't get it because I have a couple of those games on the original console, and I think I'd just rather play them on Game Boy. But still so cool that's coming for sure. All right, let's move on because there's still a lot to talk about. Let's kind of switch gears a little bit because Animal Crossing is getting an update. Animal Crossing New Horizons. We found out on September 25th that it's getting a new update with their fall update. And also they announced that the special edition Switch is coming back. We alluded to that earlier. I've seen that in Best Buy recently. And also the Amiibo cards are coming back as well. So if you kind of missed out on them before, you're going to be able to get them. But in this new update for Animal Crossing, which is dropping tomorrow, that's September 30th. It's
actually out now.
Is it already out? They dropped it early.
Awesome.
Maybe it was September 30th in Japan.
It is,
yeah. So cool. So it's already available. We get you can grow pumpkins, which is kind of crazy, and you can use those pumpkins to create DIY projects and everything. They're also going to have Halloween-themed festivals, festivities and decorations, and you can have costumes and kind of change your skin color and different things like that. Halloween night celebrations as well. So when October 31st comes around after 5 p.m., all your neighbors will gather in the plaza and be adorned in their decorations and their costumes and all that stuff. And you can kind of give each other candy that night. And then you can also kind of unrelated to this, 2 other updates that came as well. You can now revisit dreams. So if you really enjoyed a certain dream, you can actually make it to your list and revisit that dream. And also there's a Nook Link app update, so that you can actually select your reactions from your mobile phone. So I know that kind of seems weird for some of you. Like, why would that even happen? There are many times that I've actually thought, especially now that they took the camera function, be able to remove the HUD. I was like, if we could do a podcast on Animal Crossing, but every time I want to show a reaction, it shows the little on-screen thing, and I have to choose it and everything. Now we don't have to do it. I can just keep it open and hit the little button on my phone, and all of a sudden I do a reaction. So it's a weird update, but it's so cool that it's coming. But Greg, what do you think about these updates coming to Animal Crossing?
Oh, we were definitely excited. We watched like the video a number of times, like on that release day, and been counting down like the number of sleeps until it launched. So I'm sure they don't know that it's out right now because my wife and daughters are probably already in bed now. So I'll be downloading it probably shortly after the podcast tonight. We've just been really excited to have more content. I was kind of looking forward to October just to see what was new, and then I was kind of disappointed to see there's no new bugs and fish and stuff coming for the Northern Hemisphere in October. So it's just like, oh, it's almost kind of like a little lull that you don't get to do anything with it. No, now there's an update and enjoy new things, and now we can plant pumpkins. So everything's just going to be kind of like, oh, gotta play it every day now. So hopefully that kind of revitalizes it a little bit for the time being, and hopefully doesn't get too overplayed like the bunny event and stuff that it started off with. So
well, there's 2 new sea creatures to get.
Yeah, I didn't look at that list. I imagined it was probably small as well, but it's nice to know.
Yeah. Huston, is this going to be? Is this enough to get you back in Animal Crossing?
I think there's already been enough to get me back in. It's just a matter of like Fortnite has all these weekly things that you just have to do, and I'm like, do I do this or this? But no, it's great to see even more content being added. The Nook Link app, like it's one of the few things that the Nintendo Switch Online app is actually good for. You know, like surprisingly, it works really well. So I'm glad that they're adding more to it. I wish they would have even more quality of life type things, but granted, look, we're in a pandemic. Like I get it. At least we got something, and this stuff does look good. So definitely looking forward to it. I'm glad that they are re-releasing the amiibo cards. I'm surprised it took them this long, but but hey, you know, at least they're re-releasing them. So I might have to try and continue to get more. I'll see. I am a little surprised that they are re-releasing the Animal Crossing Special Edition Switch, just because they usually don't re-release the special editions. But I guess maybe the pandemic or something, they just didn't have another special edition bundle for this holiday, so they're like, well, let's just, you know, make some more money off the Animal Crossing one. So I think that makes sense.
Maybe that's the only Switch they have right now.
yeah, that's true. That too. So because usually during the holidays, there's always like a new bundle design. So I was like anticipating some new Joy-Cons I'd have to collect or something. But although there are these Fortnite
ones, yeah.
It's a European only one so far. So I might have to figure out how to import that, or I'll see. But yeah, I'm glad they're releasing more stock of it. Those colors are great as well for those Joy-Cons, and that's a great system. Yeah, cool stuff.
Absolutely. Yeah, funny you mentioned the cards. I'm glad they're coming back too, because I got to the point where I was like, oh cool, I can scan my Animal Crossing amiibo, and then I realized I don't have any Animal Crossing amiibo, nor the cards. I was like, well, guess I'm not going to get to experience that part of the game. So I'm glad to see them come back as well.
Yeah, I did try to scan in Isabelle, but then she doesn't do anything, so that was very disappointing.
She's already in the game. Yeah.
Well, she just sits behind a desk and you like barely even know she's in the game.
You can get her photo now, I think. Like, if you scan Isabelle, you can get her photo. You can order that to have like sitting in your house if you want.
Nice.
She came out during fireworks.
That's true. She even talked about how she got to come outside again.
Yes.
Barry, what do you think about this fall update?
Yeah, it was a lot of stuff. It's definitely going to pull a little bit of my attention away from 13 Sentinels. It's not going to have me playing, consistently all day, but I will be probably doing a little bit, every day to work on it. But it's just one of those things where it depends how active the growing part is, like to grow the jack-o'-lanterns, because my island, I'm pretty happy with where it is. So there's not much for me to do right now. So it's like, if it's just like 5 to 10 minutes a day, I'll definitely do it. But if it's like, oh, we're going to need you to do 5 hours a day, I'd be like, I don't know if I can commit that right now. I'm already in another game. But we'll see. I'm definitely excited for it. I'm happy that the cards are coming back. I know some people aren't, because they're like, I could retire on my set of cards. And I have the sets. You know what? I don't have them for monetary. I have them as an amiibo collector. I'm happy they're coming back. I'm glad that people get to experience them. I do find it funny that those cards were like GameStop couldn't give them away, and now they were worth gold, and now they're coming back, and people are happy. So I do hope people get to get their villagers they want and get a better experience from the game. I think that's great, and I do encourage that. And I'm happy to see the systems back in stock too. I know they were going for stupid amount of money. I do feel bad for the people that spend hundreds of dollars or thousands of dollars on the cards and the systems. But this is Nintendo. You can't count anything as a permanently gone thing. They can pull anything out whenever they want.
And they announced a few months ago that they were re-releasing the cards in Japan. So
Yeah.
I kind of figured at some point it would happen here too. So this was in the
But
plan.
it's not the welcome amiibo cards. It's just the 4 sets that came with Happy Home Designer. The welcome amiibo cards are not coming back. At least not yet.
Interesting.
Yeah, I mean, they got us like hook, line, and sinker with it. So I mean, we were at the point we almost wanted to order those custom cards just because like we wanted like to see if we wanted certain villagers. So it was like
Nice.
the people that made those like hack ones, but
Yeah.
the official ones are coming back, and we'll probably buy like a couple packs and see who we get. So
Cool. Yeah, what were you going to say, Barry?
I was gonna say that one thing that I did when those sets came out and what helped me to like when I went for the sets is I think I bought 20 packs per series because there's 4 series, and I opened them all up, and whatever I had, and whatever I didn't, I made a list of what I still needed and what I had duplicate, and I went on like Facebook groups. There's Animal Crossing trading Facebook groups, and I recommend those. And I usually just traded 1 for 1 or 2 for 1 depending on the cards. And you just put it in an envelope with a stamp. It's super easy. Just put like one of these suckers on here, those hard plastics to protect the card. It's super easy to do. And trading was fun. I met a lot of cool people who I still talk with today trading Animal Crossing cards. So that's what I recommend. So even if you don't get the card you want in your pack, check out Facebook groups, and maybe you can trade it for the card you want.
Cool.
how much were those packs?
I think they were $6 for 3 cards or something like that.
I think that's what it said in the
$5.99 per pack.
Is it 3 cards per, or is it 5? Is it 6 cards per? It's 6 cards per, right? Yeah.
I think it's
I think
6.
so.
Yeah, it's 6 cards per, so it's $1 a card.
Nice. Yep. A lot cheaper than an actual amiibo.
Yeah, it's not that bad. Again, especially like I said, when you trade, back then people were selling them for $1 to $2 a card. Like people weren't making bank on it, so that's why I said trading was easy, and especially using that trick, you can send them for a postage stamp.
Yeah.
So.
Cool. Yep. Know what I'm doing later tonight. Playing some Animal Crossing. So let's move on, because we also had another story that just dropped this morning. Pokemon Sword and Shield had an announcement video, and they announced that the Crown Tundra DLC is going to be expansion pack DLC is going to be available on October 22nd, and told about several different other announcements, including that the Pokemon Go is getting the Pokemon Home integration by the end of this year. But kind of talking about the Crown Tundra stuff and everything. There's newly discovered Pokemon, including a Galarian Slowking and a Gigantamax Melmetal. And then there's Dynamax Adventures as well, where players will team up with 3 other trainers to explore a den where Dynamax Pokemon are said to lurk, and so that's gonna be kind of cool. Just another adventure that you're gonna be able to experience. Cool thing is with other players. Legendary Pokemon are gonna be coming as well. And there's going to be a special event with Pikachu to just kind of celebrate the launch of the Crown Tundra, and that's going to be an in-game events where there's be 8 different Pikachus available for you to kind of cash in. You basically get these codes. So it's beginning on September 29th, so that's today, and up through October 30th, you can find these special codes or passwords, and you can actually put them in. So make sure you're following the Play Pokemon Twitter feed and the Pokemon Trainer Club emails. And then there's actually one that went live today, and that was released in the video, but also on Pokemon's website, and you can get the original Cap Pikachu, and that code is the P1. It's basically Pikachu Get, but the I in Pikachu is a 1 instead of an I. And then the Pikachu Partner Cap is also available now, and that's a 1 choose you instead of I choose you. It's 1 choose you. But both of those are available on Pokemon.com, so you can easily find those codes for you guys to get those different kind of Pikachu in the game. And like I said earlier, connectivity between Pokemon Go and Pokemon Home is coming at the end of this year. And just a reminder, that is only to home and not from home into Go. So you can move your Pokemon from Go into home and then into Sword and Shield, but you cannot go the opposite way and move them from home into your Pokemon Go game. So it's only one way for that. Let's cool announcements for Pokemon Sword and Shield and also Pokemon Go. I still have a ton of the original game, so I'm not jumping on the expansion passes yet. Hassan, what do you think about the Crown Tundra and all these other announcements?
It looked interesting. I did buy the expansion pass initially. I honestly actually have not played the first part of the expansion pass yet. Although really this part of it I think has the more interesting stuff for me with the Galarian versions of the Moltres, Articuno, Zapdos, the 2 new Reggie legendary Pokemon. So I think there's some other interesting things in this piece. So I need to get back into the Pokemon game. I'm also really excited about finally being able to transfer Pokemon from Pokemon Go into home and then ultimately into Sword and Shield. However, I did see something floating around Twitter, and I don't know if it's people found stuff from the game code or it was a rumor or something, that potentially it might require you to use your coins in Pokemon Go to be able to transfer Pokemon. Now, coins, you get a limited amount unless you spend money. And I will be very, very angry if you have to spend money to send Pokemon into Pokemon Home,
which you have to pay for already.
Pokemon Home subscriptions and all this other stuff. So I'm hoping that's not actually a thing, unless it's like a initial. Maybe there's a one-time initial thing, which would still suck. But that's I don't know. It's just so we'll see. I'm a little skeptical of how all that's going to play out. But I'd love to transfer a bunch of stuff into home and into Sword and Shield from there. So definitely looking forward to getting back into Pokemon.
For sure. Cool. Barry, what do you think?
I did not get the DLC pass. I'm not planning on getting the DLC pass. Not saying that it doesn't look enticing, because it does. It's just there's too many other things I want to play, and that ship has sailed for me for Pokemon. I enjoyed it. I beat it. I've moved on. I'm happy about the home integration with Pokemon Go to Home, and that is probably something I will utilize, because I don't have Home, but I will probably get Home when the next generation's announced, and it'll be like, oh yeah, because I don't play Pokemon Go anymore, but I still have my account, and I will transfer some stuff over for sure. For me, the biggest takeaway was the fact that they're re-releasing the physical with the expansion pass. Now, is it going to be Nintendo lazy, where it's the exact same card and it just has the code inside?
No,
or is it going to be an actual reprint of the game with... Is it?
The DLC is on the card, because there's no label or anything on it about, like, there's nothing about any download codes. It's all, I think they've confirmed it's all on the card.
See, that excites me so much, because there's been updates to the base game anyway, and that is the complete game. So down the road, servers shut down, that is the complete Pokemon Sword and Shield experience. I'm happy they're doing that. I wish, and I'm hoping they save this maybe for the Nintendo Selects, but they do that with all their other games, like Breath of the Wild with the expansion pass all on a card, Mario Odyssey with the updates on the card, Pokken Tournament with the DLC on the card, Splatoon 2, same thing, Xenoblade 2, same thing. Like, all the games that have gotten DLC and significant add-ons, not just random updates, like, have the complete package there, so you have that entire game offline, and I think that's super important. So I'm really happy they're doing this, and because they're doing this, I will be repurchasing both games to have the complete versions. And I definitely feel I don't know how many they're going to print of this, but I definitely feel this is going to be the harder one to get down the road because it's more desirable, hands down, because it's everything complete on the card, and that's what people want.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, it's cool you brought that up. I'd forgotten that they also announced that. So, and yeah, great to hear that it's confirmed that they're going to have all that because, yeah, I knew if that was going to be a just a download code, you'd be so happy about that, Barry.
Oh, that's what so many systems now are doing. Like a PS4, it's like you get the Game of the Year edition, and for the most part, it's the same disc
Plus download
with the code. Street Fighter is even the worst. Street Fighter 5, there's 3 versions of that game out there. And all the versions of the exact same 1.0 basic disc that didn't even have a story mode on it. And it's like, really, come on, Capcom. This is lazy even for you. Yeah. And I really hate that because it does count as another revision. So in order for them to print another disc or to print another card, they have to submit a new card to Nintendo to actually have that. But for preservation, it's 100% worth it to have the more complete copy or the most complete copy on disc or card. And sometimes, you'll see those versions are significantly go up in value when the DLC's gone or the servers go down, because that's the only way to play those games.
Yep, absolutely. Well, that wraps us up in the news, I think. Actually, Greg, I didn't give you a chance to talk about this. Did you play Pokemon yet? I forget.
It's
I know this
still
was
on
your
my
first
list.
one.
I have Sword, but I haven't even loaded it up yet. So it all sounds really cool, but again, I still haven't yet to have my Pokemon experience.
All right. Well, when you finally do, you've got a lot of content now. It's the same for me when I finally get back to it. I just got lost in the wild area and, just had fun there. Yeah, so that brings us to the end of all the news. Before we head into what's coming up over the next couple weeks, just want to remind you guys, if you're still hanging in at this point, thank you so much, because this is a long one. First of all, thank you. And secondly, if you haven't done so, hit that subscribe button on whatever platform you're watching or listening, and hit the like button if there is one, like there is here on YouTube. Share it with other people, leave some comments, leave some thoughts. Find us on social media, go to our Discord, join all that, because we'd love to connect with you more than you guys just listening to us. We love having that conversation with you. That's what we love doing that in the chat room during the live shows, but also we love doing that in between shows and our Discord and social media and everything. So be sure to do all those things. Yeah, let's look at what's coming up over the next couple weeks. There are some different highlights as I scroll these along the screen. You guys will see them, of course, but there are some different highlights that are coming out. Over the next couple days. One of them in particular, we talked about on our last podcast, and that's Super Mario Brothers 35, which is coming out, I believe, on October 1st, so just a couple days away as of today of the recording. So that's that Battle Royale Super Mario Brothers game. Yeah, there's several other games, lots of indie games coming over the next couple weeks. A good Agatha Christie game coming out. Nickelodeon Kart Racers 2 coming out as well. Charterstone, the digital edition, is coming out, which looks like a great game as well. And then I don't have the list in front of me, so I'm going to have to scroll up here to remind me what the other games that I was going to highlight. Oh, of course, Ben 10, for those fans of that, and Survivalist is coming out. Prinny, of course, FIFA 21, the Legacy Edition, that we're just going to mention and then move on, because I'm still bitter that we don't get the real game. Yeah, there's several games coming out over the next couple weeks. Like I said, a lot of indie games, but some other big ones as well. Barry, we're gonna go to you first. What of the ones that are coming out over the next couple weeks, but just all the other games that we've talked about, what are you looking forward to playing over the next couple weeks?
Well, I definitely plan on giving Mario 35 a try. I mean, it's free, why not? I'm excited that the Prinny games are coming, Prinny 1 and 2. They were really quirky games on the PSP, and they were only on the PSP, so they've never been off that system.
And
so it's
one
great
and what they're available individually on eShop,
individual,
but then the package deal.
Both.
Okay.
Yeah, so the physical is you're getting both on the same card. and it's just great to see some NIS love and bringing some back, because it's the unfortunate thing. Not everybody keeps their older systems, and a lot of times those games that are locked onto older systems, it's just harder or more uncomfortable to play, especially as you get older. Maybe as younger you're easier able to do the handheld, but as you get older, the smaller screen of the PSP, it just might not work for you anymore, or it might be more cramped to play. So this might be more comfortable. There's a lot of interesting older games coming out, like what I mean older, like older properties, like G.I. Joe has a game coming out now this week. Goosebumps has a game coming out this week for the Switch. It's just interesting to see these things come back, and it's like Nickelodeon Kart Racers 2 has some, like the Turtles and stuff. I like it. I like seeing old as new and seeing that come back. It's a better roster versus what is previously, previous weeks we've had. Obviously the FIFA is blah, but it is what it is, right? At least it's EA support of some kind. But yeah, there's just so many games, and that's just it. There's not enough time, so many games. We've all stated how there's games that we've all want to play right now, we just don't have the time. And that's only factoring in Switch. Factoring in other consoles, obviously it's worse. But yeah, it's going to be a good couple weeks, and I have high hopes for some of those games. Zoids is another one. Randomly we're getting a Zoids game on the Switch. It's a property we haven't heard from in years.
Yeah, for sure. Greg, what are you looking forward to playing over the next couple weeks?
Pretty much just Super Mario 35, and probably just continue hitting my long list of games that I have going on already. I still need to get more time into Origami King. I've kind of paused that for like 4 weeks now, and kind of would like to see where that story goes there. Plus all the other stuff that's going on. I know my daughter's way too into Mario Kart, so hopefully I can try to siphon off some time for something else. But
Nice. How about you, Hassan?
Kind of similar to Greg, pretty much just trying out Mario 35, and then just catching up on stuff, playing more Fortnite, hopefully getting back to Animal Crossing, Pokemon, playing more Mario 3D All-Stars, kind of the backlog, really.
Yeah, pretty much the same thing for me too. Continuing, I'm loving the fact that Rocket League is free to play now. There's so many more players online. It's ridiculous. There's like over 1 million now, or like 3 million or something like that the other day. It was like, this is crazy, because I remember when it was like 70,000, which is or in the 100,000s was a good day and everything, and now there's millions of players, which is nuts. So that's been really cool, and just the extra challenges and stuff like that they added in. But I'll probably continue a little bit with Fortnite, especially since I purchased the what's it called? I forget the
There's the Save the World game you're talking about, or the
just the regular shoot. I forget what they call it. Just like the $5 thing that you buy each round,
like
or
starter
season.
set?
Starter set or season pass, or
Battle Pass?
Battle Pass. That's what it's called.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay, yeah.
So
like Battle Pass.
I purchased it. I'm like, well, I guess I better play it and actually enjoy it. So there's a lot more to unlock and knock off there. But thanks for the tip, though, by the way, of playing in the other mode to be able to get a lot of the challenges, because that was incredibly helpful for sure.
Let me know if you're playing, because I've completed all the weekly challenges. I've been keeping up to it.
Nice.
I'm like level 180 something, because you have to get to level 220 to like unlock all the variants of all the Marvel skins. So I want to get to that this season. So I'm on track for that.
That's amazing. I'm like I think 20 something, so way far under that. But hopefully I'm gonna get. I've been saying this the last couple episodes. I really want to get back and actually start Evergate. There's just other things keep taking up some time, but I really do want to play Evergate eventually, and hopefully eventually Ori and the Will of the Wisps. But I have a feeling that's probably going to be several weeks, if not months away. But we're going to be back on October 13th with the next episode, 208. But until then, hopefully you guys have some good gaming plans of yourself. Jakester says he's going to be playing some Genshin Impact again. So that's pretty exciting. Manic Mouth Gaming said cheers, everyone. Thanks so much for joining us, for sure. Hassan, what do you got going on? I know you got your own YouTube channel and everything that can you're continuing on and everything. What's anything big coming up soon?
I do have. You all got the first look at that Lego Mario full set thing there, but I'm doing a video to kind of show my walkthrough of the course and how I failed at trying to get all the way through within the time limit. So working on that, and just getting some other content, finishing up the backlog of videos there. Because actually, as of today, exactly 2 months from today is our baby's due date. So we're kind of really just getting things finalized and getting ready for all that. So
nice. I was wondering when that's gonna be happening. I was like, it's got to be soon. So that's cool.
Yeah.
Greg, anything else that's coming up over the next couple weeks? Any exciting announcements? You got a baby due in a couple weeks, maybe too, or a couple months.
No, not one. At least one ourselves. We just did get a new niece today, so that was.
Oh, nice.
On the side, so
that's awesome.
My wife's brother and his wife had their baby today, so
cool. Congratulations, that's awesome. Very. How many podcasts are you gonna be on in the next couple weeks?
Well, not just the usual, just the playcast. But I don't have a baby story, but my one of my older brothers just got a Switch today for the first time and just finally got to plug it in and play it. So it's been fun talking with him, like, oh my god, this is incredible and all that stuff. So it's not a baby, but it's a Switch. So
it's good enough.
Still a bundle of joy.
There you go.
Do have 2 industry talks that are filmed and hopefully up soon, but that's all in our wonderful Steve's hands. But they're filmed and done, so hopefully you'll get to see them soon. They're good ones too. They're really good ones.
Yeah.
And we're still looking for that video editor to help Steve out. So
that's right. Especially lately, too much. Barry keeps giving me content. Needs to slow down.
That's why I stopped.
For sure. Yeah. Things have been crazy around here. I do. Soon, hopefully, things can slow down again. But that quarantine time is supposed to slow everything down, and it's just all picked back up again. And I need to go back into, not that I really want it to happen, but it was nice back in March and April when everything slowed to a halt. Be nice to have that again at some level.
You might get your wish. Florida's now opened up, and there's the second wave talks about.
Man.
It might happen. And it will be your fault. We could just blame you, Steve.
Thanks. Appreciate that. Yeah, all my fault. Oh, man. It's been awesome to talk with games again with all of you guys tonight. Long show. So much to talk about. And but it's been cool, as always, to talk with you guys about all that. And it's time to end this because, the messing up of talking is happening again, and it's time for me to sign off. But thanks so much for joining us, Greg, Barry, Hassan. Great to have you back as well.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yep, always a pleasure.
Absolutely. Thanks for keeping this going.
For sure. All right. Well, have a good night, guys, and happy gaming.